Hartford. On Saturday, the call came in for a fire at the Sigourney Street station in Hartford, where a bench in a vestibule was smoking. Crews were able to knock the fire down. Troopers investigating noticed a man who'd stuck around longer than bystanders who were inquiring about what happened. They say after viewing surveillance footage, that same person was spotted at a fast-track station on Kane Street early Sunday. Now under arrest is 43-year-old Aaron Davis. Police say he had 2 butane torches on him when he was arrested. He faces arson and other charges. New information about 4 missing U.S. soldiers.
6 days after 4 U.S. soldiers went missing in Lithuania, 3 have been found dead. Recovery efforts continue for the 4th. Earlier today, their armored vehicle was pulled from a body of water. The 4 were on a tactical training exercise in the east of the country.
That's CBS News correspondent Elaine Cobb in Paris. The UConn women's basketball team tries to punch a ticket to the Final Four tonight when the Huskies host USC. The 2 teams met last in December, with the Trojans coming out a 2-point winner. Their star guard, Juju Watkins, though, is out with an ACL injury. UConn coach Gino Auriemma says his squad has had its share of injuries over the last few years.
We saw firsthand what it's like to play without someone who means so much to your team, you know. We haven't been immune to a lot of that stuff over the years.
Tip-off tonight is 9 p.m. WTIC News Time is 3:04. Now the forecast.
Cloudy, windy, and warmer on our Monday afternoon with a thunderstorm around. Those storms capable of localized damaging wind gusts and hail, the high 64. Tonight, mostly cloudy, breezy, couple of showers and a thunderstorm this evening. Still capable of localized damaging wind gusts and hail, followed by periods of rain late, the low down to 40. Sunny to partly cloudy, breezy, cooler for us as we make our way into Tuesday with the high of 55. Tuesday night, mainly clear, cold, the low down to 30. On Wednesday, more clouds than sun, the high of 51. We start to rebound toward the end of the week, though. Thursday, we'll have a little morning rain, otherwise mainly cloudy, breezy, and warmer with a high of 68. Friday, a mild day, cloudy in the morning, then sun and some high clouds for the afternoon, the high 66. Mostly cloudy and cooler as we make our way into the weekend Saturday, the high of 50.
What's up, Michael B?
Saturday. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
It's 63 cloudy skies right now in Hartford. Markets are mixed on Wall Street this afternoon. The Dow's up 338 points. NASDAQ's down 86. S&P is up 15. On the radio, the Orioles lead the Red Sox 4-0. Top half of the second inning. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Do you know a veteran in need? After leaving the military, many veterans struggle to find their way home. Because to a veteran, home isn't just a place, it's an idea, a feeling. Nation's Finest understands the challenges veterans face. Through the VA's Supportive Services for Veteran Families program, we help veterans and their families struggling with rent, employment, and other housing-related costs. Today, Nation's Finest operates more than 30 locations in California, Arizona, and Nevada. For more than 50 years, we've helped thousands of veterans in these communities build happy, healthy, and purposeful lives. And our team is committed to supporting those who've served and their families for another 50. To get help, visit nationsfinest.org or call 1-833-468-9676.
All right, here we go.
833-468-9676.
Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Back in the day, we used to call this the world's most hated and most racist online show in America. Now, I can officially say that Reese on the Radio is the world's most loved and adored person to ever grace this planet. What's going on, everybody? It's Reese on the Radio. We're back. It's Monday. Yes, we are online. It's okay. We're on the Odyssey app. We're on WTIC.com. And, of course, we're on ReeseOnTheRadio.com. And good luck to the Red Sox, of course, today. They're playing the Orioles, who have been in last place. They had a great season last season, but nothing anyone could care about. So if they do well, the Red Sox, for that matter, we congratulate them, but they should be able to beat the hapless Baltimore Orioles.
They're getting smacked right now.
What's that?
They're getting smacked right now.
Who's getting smacked?
Red Sox.
What's the
4-0.
score? 4-0?
Yeah.
What the hell is going on? Pitching is already going to be a problem. Lori in Glastonbury, if you're listening, Lori, already, give me a call. I know we had an argument about pitching last year. It looks like we're going to have that problem again this year. We'll talk about that. Michael B., not a fan. But you know what? I'm wishing him well because I'm a Red Sox fan. You might notice my Rebel Scum T-shirt on today with my Star Wars hat. If you're watching online, I'll explain that because I thought this shirt was appropriate to wear. And if anybody works for the folks over at Grunt Style, if you know them, please, can you contact me if you work for Grunt Style? Get in touch with me. I'd appreciate it. I want to do something with Grunt. I love their shirts. I love their product. And my wife and I yesterday went to one of their places, their stores nearby, and they had a lot of great shirts, and we actually picked up a few yesterday as well. So you'll see them in the coming days. The T-shirts are a huge part of the online show, so you'll see all that later. Also, don't forget, in 2 days, it is going to be peanut butter and jelly time. And I would have the audio here, but I'm not going to bore you with that. That is because when you go to Between Rounds, our beautiful sponsor, when you go there, starting April 2nd for the rest of the month of April, buy a Reese's peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and $1 of that purchase goes to our friends at the Friendly Hands Food Bank. So I've got two friends that go great together, as the saying goes. Between Rounds and Friendly Hands Food Bank, great people doing great things, looking out for those who are in need, and it's an opportunity for you to play a part in that. Again, it's peanut butter and jelly. You can't go wrong with it. Even if you are not a peanut butter and jelly fan, you know somebody who is, and you can go buy them a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So you're doing two great things at the same time. Okay, you're buying a peanut butter and jelly sandwich from somebody you know who likes peanut butter and jelly, and you're contributing to the Friendly Hands Food Bank. So, you couldn't get better than that, right? You couldn't. So make this thing successful. We'd appreciate it because, again, we're giving and we care about the people in Connecticut. Of course, those are in need, and Friendly Hands Food Bank does a great deal. I went out to their place in Torrington they're getting ready to move out of, and it is so small. They need so much room. So many people give. They've got big, giant trucks there of stuff coming in, and they're moving to a warehouse, and they need it. And this will also help them out. So, and plus you get a great bagel at the same time as well. So Friendly Hands and Between Rounds, couldn't get better than that. We appreciate them. And a round of applause goes to those folks. Now, sometimes I think about the opening monologue a day, 2 days in advance. Sometimes it's just 12 hours. Today was one of those days for the latter. And I always go back to my childhood. Our generation had an interesting growth of certain people. And you might have seen this in your childhood. And I remember a time when I got in trouble for pushing back on this notion. Let me tell you the story. We're in an assembly, and kids who are coming up talking about politics they knew nothing about, but trying to sound like people who were beyond their years. And they were usually the do-gooders at school. I'll never forget it. It was junior high school, and we had one in particular, Gail Roberts. She destroyed me in the presidential election in junior high Gail Roberts, if you're out there, I hope you live in Connecticut. I just want to say to you, and if somebody does know you, you went to IS 238, Susan B. Anthony School in Queens, and you annihilated me in the presidential election. It was so bad that my sister, who also attended the school, voted for you and not for her own brother. I will hate you forever for that. I say that tongue in cheek. By the way, she had the best campaign poster in junior high school. She had the best campaign poster. I'm surprised she's not in politics today. Her campaign poster read in big, bold red letters, sex. And then in small, fine print, it said, now that I have your attention, vote for Gail Roberts. It was brilliant for a junior high school kid. I'm almost certain her parents did it. It's like when your parents do your science project. Yeah, I'm positive that somebody in her family did that. And it was allowed to be on school grounds. Completely provocative. But she won. It was a landslide. Woman beat me by over 350 votes. I don't think we had 350 students there. She may have cheated. Who knows? But Gail Roberts was one of those people who would get up on stage and she would say these magical words. I want to change the world. Who here knows a kid or a person you've seen on television, in your own school or in life, who have uttered those words? I want to change the world. Well, I was in an assembly where someone said that. What would you like to do, little Timmy? When I get older, I want to change the world. And I'll remember this for as long as I live. I shouted in the back row, who asked you? I was abruptly grabbed by a teacher and ushered out of the auditorium. But that was always the way I looked at it. Who asked you? What do you mean you want to change the world? In what image? Yours? Who are you to decide for the rest of us that the world needs a change in? And that's become commonplace, no matter where you look. Look at these people out there. They're saying it to you every day. I want to change the world. And it's never for the better. Never. Everything they want to change is for the worse. Why? Because it takes more freedoms away from you. It's always about taking away your freedoms. When they say they want to change the world, every time it's about restriction. No one says, I want to change the world where everybody can do everything. No, it's, I want to stop them from doing this. I don't want people doing that and people saying this and people being like that. Why do they always want to change the world for the worse? Or why do they want to make it more restricting or restrictive? There you go. Michael B. said, I bet Dylan Mulvaney wanted to change the world. Yeah. They all do. This is what they're motivated by. And folks, if you listen closely, it's everywhere. A couple of years ago, I remember watching this video, and I remember saying, what a snob piece of crap this guy is. Imagine you got invited to Davos, to the World Economic Forum, just an average schmo sitting in the audience. You don't know what this whole thing is about, but you know it's a bunch of rich, elite people who think they're better than everybody. They've got more money. They've got more access. They are pillars of the world. And John Kerry, a guy you recognize, hey, didn't he run for president once? Wasn't he the Secretary of State under the Obama administration? Yeah, I know that guy. What if that guy got up on stage and said this?
And when you stop and think about it, it's pretty extraordinary that we, select group of human beings, because of whatever touched us at some point in our lives, are able to sit in a room and come together and actually talk about saving the planet. I mean, it's so almost extraterrestrial to think about, quote, saving the planet. If you said that to most people, they think you're just a crazy tree-hugging, lefty, liberal, do-gooder, whatever, and there's no relationship. But really, that's where we are.
We, a select group of people, sit here at the World Economic Forum. Almost extraterrestrial, he says, coming in to change the world. How insane is that? How about Binifer Noraji? She's the new president of the Open Society Foundation. Imagine being in a room with that woman, standing on stage, and she says this.
We're being called on to redesign the world. All of us, in whichever space we occupy, this is a time where what we do now will shape the next 50 years. And so the design school is the best place to have a discussion about the state of the world, even though it wouldn't have been obvious at first glance.
Who asked you? Who asked you? These people have put it upon themselves to say that we have to redesign the world for you, for me, without our consent. None of these people have ever asked us. They don't even want to talk to us. They sit around and they hold their forums in these far-off places, eat caviar and vegan foods and cage-free. I don't know what they eat, okay? I've never been there. I know they eat something. I know whatever they eat, it's froofy and expensive. But my point is, if I could get back to it, like I'll get trapped in this whole food thing. But my point is that that's what these people go around these societies, sitting around, filming themselves, talking about how they're going to change the world for you and I. Who asked them? We didn't ask them. Why do they get to change the world? No offense. Why does the Open Society Foundation get to make an arrangement? Why does the World Economic Forum, why do they get to decide what we eat, how we live, what our footprint is on the world? Why do they get to decide? What about this is freedom? What about this change is good? The pursuits that we have, look, some of them may be similar, but for a lot of us, they are very different. Why is it that people think that they can get this one-size-fits-all approach and use it on the rest of us and do it? I mean, how do you get us to that place? Because if you can't normalize it, right? If it isn't normalized, you have to force it. That's what Larry Fink said at another one of those forums, sitting around with a bunch of other rich elites, how we have to force behaviors. And that's all they're trying to say. We have to force these people to do it. We have to force these people to behave a certain way. We have to make it in a societal way. We have to make it uncommon for them to be free, to decide on their own. We have got to make their wants and their needs reprehensible, selfish behavior, while ignoring the fact that they are the selfish ones, that they have woken up one day, looked at their lives and said, I don't like the way things are. I'm going to make everyone else adhere to whatever this other nonsense is. And I'm going to get into a small group of people, a very small group of people, I might add, and I'm going to join with them. And I'm going to use all of our political might, all of our financial might, all of our influence in all of those politicians who we line their pockets with, and we're going to get them to get their people to adhere. We're going to change the whole dynamic around, especially in the United States, the most influential country in the world. And we are going to get their citizens to believe that it's not a representative republic, that the people that they've elected to come into office are there to tell them what to do. not the other way around. There are people in this country, you know it, who have seen it, I've talked about it. Yes, last week when I said this, the question was, why is it that so many people, well, 51% of people were against what Doge is doing in Washington? And the reason why is because people believe that the government is there to do their bidding. Only in survival, though. They don't believe that the elected officials are supposed to do what they ask them to do or what they elect them to do. No, no, no. They believe that the federal government is there to give them a safety net. I asked one day in an argument, is that can the government protect you from death? A 61-year-old man answered me by saying yes. A so-called intelligent person said yes. I said, oh, do you believe that the government is supposed to protect you from death? And he said yes. And I went, and how are you supposed to protect yourself from death? Do you think you can wait around for the government to protect you from some person who breaks into your home? Is the police supposed to guard outside of your... No, they don't. So how do you protect yourself? Do you wait for the government to arrive? Hopefully they don't kill you when they get in your house. What exactly are you talking about? Now, this 61-year-old man recognized how much of an idiot he was and wanted to end the conversation immediately. But, you know, that's how that goes. People believe that the government is supposed to do for them, not do what they tell them to do. There's a difference. And many of these people don't understand the difference. The government is never supposed to have the control. We do. And we have to hash it out as individuals. We vote for the people who are our elected representatives, and then they do our bidding. We don't elect people to have them tell us how we should live. And I know a lot of these people out there, admitted dum-dums, do not get it. But I'm going to work until I bleed to death to explain it to them. I'm trying really, really hard. But I want you to think about that. The next time you hear even a small child on a stage at a kid's recital, when they say, little Timmy, what do you want to do when you grow up? When Timmy says, I want to change the world, everybody in that audience should reply, who asked you? Everybody in that room will erupt in applause. Because Timmy doesn't know what we want. And if Timmy's smart, he'd give a damn. Now, if he wants to come and serve his fellow man, that we can applaud. Zach says that government has become the greatest threat to our freedom and safety. That's right, because we turned around and told them we needed them to make the decisions for us. Look, I look at gay marriage in Roe v. Wade. You know, I look at what was it? What was the thing called? What was that thing called? Something 8, Proposition 8 in California. I'll say this real quick before we go to a break. This is a perfect example of this. Proposition 8. What's that? Oh, yeah, we're going. That's right. We're not going to a break yet. Proposition 8 was a perfect example of this. And for those of you who don't know this, go look it up. Proposition 8, if I remember correctly, and somebody, if you know this, correct me in the chat room, but I'm positive I know that I've got this right. I believe that Proposition 8 was against making marriage legal for gay couples. If it's the other way around, correct me, but I think it was. And there were plenty of actors and actresses that were doing commercials. One of my favorite actresses who fell out of favor with me, Molly Ringwald, did an ad in California trying to stop Proposition 8. Well, anyway, Proposition 8, no gay marriage in California. The proposition, of course, succeeded. The interesting part about that proposition was they found out when they broke it down by race and gender and all that stuff, 70+% of the African-American community voted against this measure. African Americans against gay marriage in the state of Connecticut. State of California. Over 70% of the African-American community. Now, again, that's a small population, but remember, think about what California's trying to do with the whole reparations thing. Like, they're completely bowing down to the African-American community. They only make up 2.5 million in the state. But yet, over 70% of African-Americans against gay marriage in the state. Now, watch what they do. The measures struck down. They're not going to have gay marriage. Well, the Supreme Court of California said, screw the vote. Told everybody in the state, you guys don't know what you're talking about. And ignored a proposition voted on by the people of California. And said, they don't know what they're talking about. And codified it. They did it anyway. Their vote didn't matter. No one in the state even protested it. Nobody fought back. But if you think about that, right? One man, one vote. This was a proposition on the ballot for the election of Barack Hussein Obama. Yeah, same day. And even though an overwhelming amount of people voted for Barack Obama in that 2008 election in California, they overwhelmingly voted against a gay marriage proposal. And the Supreme Court said, screw you guys. Obviously, you were smart enough to vote for Barack Obama, but clearly not smart enough on the gay marriage proposition. So they overturned it legally. And that's how you got gay marriage in California. As I always say, who asked you? Because everything they do is against the will of the people. Every time they say they want to change the world. It's never with your consent. We'll take a break. We'll come back. More news, more views. It's Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
And now, a WTIC news update.
62 degrees at 3:30. I'm John Silva. Could be in for some rough weather later this afternoon, evening, and tonight. Heavy rain forecast. There could be some embedded thunderstorms in that system as well. 4 people, including 3 juveniles, are under arrest after police in West Hartford say they were involved in a fight at West Farms Mall. One person was stabbed in the melee, suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Police were called around 4:30 Sunday afternoon. Female stabbed in the leg, treated at the scene. The suspects are being charged with assault and breach of peace. Death toll from that 7.7 magnitude earthquake that hit Myanmar has now passed 2,000. More bodies have been pulled from the rubble. A government spokesman says 3,400 have been injured and there are still 300 missing. Man's facing charges after state police say he set fire to a bench at a CT fast track station in Hartford. Under arrest is 43-year-old Aaron Davis. Bench in the vestibule of the Sigourney Street station was burned on Saturday. Police used surveillance video, later spotted Davis at another station on Kane Street early Sunday. President Trump says his Liberation Day is coming. Wednesday plans to roll out a set of new tariffs that he promises will free the U.S. from foreign goods. And it's UConn and USC for a spot in the Final Four tonight. The Trojans will be without their star guard, Juju Watkins. She suffered a knee injury earlier in the tournament. Final of the Spokane Regional tips off at 9 p.m. WTIC News Time is 3:32. Here's Jason Catarina with the forecast.
Cloudy, windy, and warmer with a thunderstorm this afternoon. Some of those could produce localized damaging wind gusts and hail. The high of 64. Then tonight, mostly cloudy, breezy. Couple of showers and a thunderstorm this evening. Then periods of rain late. The storm still capable of localized damaging wind gusts and hail this evening. Otherwise, the low down to 40 degrees. Tuesday, sunny to partly cloudy, breezy, the high 55. Then mainly clear Tuesday night, the low down to 30. More clouds and sun Wednesday, the high 51. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Wall Street, the Dow up 357 points. NASDAQ's down 100. S&P's up 14. Red Sox clawing their way back top third. They're trailing the Orioles now 4-3. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures to protect your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using the sunscreen with a sun protection factor, or SPF, of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. UVA rays age the skin, UVB rays burn, and both cause cancer.
So somebody asked me a really
Sunscreen
interesting...
doesn't count if you use it wrong. Don't need sunscreen on a cloudy day? Wrong. 80% of UV rays still get through the haze. Only use sunscreen at the beach? Nope. Anytime you're outside, UV rays attack the skin, so you need protection. And you have to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal health. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
We will get into the phones in a little bit. By the way, if you do want to call in, you're listening online, it is 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Also, I want to send an extended happy birthday to Lori in Glastonbury. She's thanking me for giving her a shout-out on the Sunday show. I promised that I would. She said that, she says, hey, thanks for the shout-out yesterday. Spent the birthday at the shore, chillaxing and eating grilled octopus in Middletown. Wow. Grilled octopus. Grilled octopus. Is that calamari? Which one is that squid? I don't know what, that's not, yeah, octopus and squid are just, I think those are two different things. I think those are different. But grilled octopus, I don't think I've ever had that. I wonder, is that Italian? Lori, that's got to be Italian. That's got to be. And went out to dinner with friends. I'm glad you had dinner with friends. And I hope they brought you out a cake and did the whole embarrassing, what are you singing happy birthday to you? That's always fun. I refuse to participate in that. I refuse to. I just can't. I'm just not going to do it. People do. Calamari is squid. It's Spanish. Okay. Calamari is squid. Pulpo is pulpo. What is that? Pulpo is octopus. I don't know if I would ever eat octopus. They scare me to look at. They look alien at best. I just look at it, and every time I look at it, I think of the Kraken. It's just, everything about it is just scary. And then again, I don't do a lot of weird foods anyway. I think what was it, Archie Bunker, who famously said, I think it was Michael Stivic, who says, it was like, what do you call American food? I like good old American food, like pizza and Chinese food. That's what I like. I don't even, when I get Chinese food, I get the same thing over and over again. I don't try. Mugu Gai Pan, never had it. Egg Foo Young, never had it. Doesn't matter. I am a lo mein guy. To me, that's just spaghetti. That's all. I see it. I finish
Chicken
it.
wings and shrimp fried rice.
Chicken wings and shrimp fried rice? What are you, like a broke?
That's the only thing I get.
That's the only thing you get? It's like, that is the diet of a broke rapper. It's like.
Hey, that's probably what I am, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah, that was when I was growing up, that was the one thing. Derek Headley, that was his thing. Chicken wings and pork fried rice was his thing. Now, I'm the kind of guy who cannot mix meat in a meal. Like, I could not have chicken and pork in a meal. I can't do that. I just refuse to. I think it's just bad. I think it's a bad thing to do. Yeah, I think of the giant squid scene from 2000 Leagues Under the Sea as well, Rama. That's exactly what I think. If anyone sung happy birthday to me at a restaurant, I'd get up and walk out. Matt, I'm with you. They do it. My wife does it all the time. And you never go. Well, I'm not going to say never go. You should go because the food's good. But if you have a Texas Roadhouse near you and you go and you see someone, they pull out a saddle and they make the birthday person get up on the saddle. No. Don't. They've tried that with me. That's why I'll never go on my birthday. Like, as soon as we know we're going in, I'm like, nope, not going in there.
Come on, ride that saddle, man.
No. Everyone is going to take a picture of that. Where I come from, that's called blackmail. We're not doing that. Ever doing that. It's just, again, I get it. It's cute. It's adorable. But no, not for me. I'm 230 pounds, 6'3". Nobody wants my tall, lanky behind up on top of a saddle. It looks like a high chair. Michael B says, I'm getting on the saddle if they start playing Genuine. You're right, LA. The food is good there. The food is great there. Wife and I were just there yesterday. It is great food. Let's go to, I want to go to Ralph real quick. Let me go to him real quick because he's been on hold for a while. What's going on, buddy?
4-3. I happen to have the game on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I usually keep the score up, and I forgot to do that, so I'm going to probably do that as well. What do you got going on?
Game, by the way. Hey, pardon?
No, I was saying, what do you got going on? How's your Monday?
Monday's good so far. The reason I called is, Trump started talking about a third term.
Yes, I'm going to get into that.
I'm one person who would not support him or who would not vote for him. The law says 2 terms.
Right.
That's the law.
I agree.
And that law applies to everybody, Reese, not just,
I know. You got to do this, though. Ralph, this is the way I look at it. It is the ultimate troll of the news media. And I think, and I'm waiting for it because I know it's going to happen, Donald Trump is literally trying to show the American people that with the wave of his hand, he can change this conversation. Think about trolling them in this way. Everyone's paying attention to the Signal scandal, right? Signal. Then he says, hey, constitutionally, I think I probably could. There are some provisions that would allow me a third term. And then everybody goes nuts because they need something to sort of rattle their base to get them, angry about something new. He's going to thwart the Constitution and run again. And then that's their focus. In a lot of ways, Ralph, I want to look at this in a very, let's just say, diminished way. The news media is like the kitty cat that's trying to chase the flashlight on the ground when it comes to Donald Trump. Because when he sees they're focused on one thing, he just flashes the light over here, and they run to it. It's without a doubt, they have no choice but to run right to it when it comes out of his mouth because it's how silly they are.
Well, the thing, you talk about and we talked about the text and being on the text message. Wasn't there a Department of Defense secretary in the hospital?
Yes.
Under anesthesia.
He was in a self-induced coma.
Right.
Yeah.
Told nobody about it. I didn't hear one Democrat, unless maybe I guess my hearing is bad, call for his resignation.
No,
not one.
You never will. Thank you for bringing this up, Ralph. Let me play this audio soundbite for you because I'm always prepared. Listen to this audio soundbite. This was from Face the Nation. It was hosted by Major Garrett. That's the voice you're going to hear. Major Garrett. And everybody in the news media is touting these polls about the Signal scandal because they believe that this is give them an opportunity to hold on to it for dear life. There's something that they're missing, though. I'll play the audio first, and then I'll explain.
In our new CBS News poll, let's see, 3/4 of Americans say that this was, to them, a serious matter. A total of 76% of Americans also said the use of the app to discuss military plans was, to their way of thinking, not appropriate. And that included 8 in 10 independents and more than half of Republicans surveyed.
Now, here's what I want you to recognize about that. It's the polling question is that many people in that poll said that the Signal communication was inappropriate. Okay? That's like wearing a see-through blouse at the Oscars where young children are going to be viewing. That's inappropriate. It's scandalous at best, but it's not criminal. And that's what they're trying to do. So what they want to do is hold on to a story that Americans found inappropriate. Now, if they had asked the question of whether or not that what they did was criminal, the polling would be ridiculously lower. That's all. That's why they chose the word inappropriate.
The thing, too, as far as the polling goes, Reese, and you're a pretty intelligent guy, depending how you ask the question,
exactly,
you can answer you want.
And I think that was the reason why they chose appropriate versus criminal. You know, I mean, the criminal is, you know, if I were to ask the same question, do you believe that someone should be held responsible for 13 service members and many injured in the Afghanistan pullout. I'm pretty sure overwhelming people would say, yeah, you're damn right. So
absolutely. But, and again, without being redundant, you can get any answer you want depending on the way you answer the question. And that's why a lot of these quote unquote polls depend on who asked them and how they asked them.
Exactly. Also, don't forget the amount of people they ask, whether they be left, right, or, or independent. Thank you. 100%
correct.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. So, yeah, there's all of that. So I had that audio on the ready because I knew it was going to be brought up today. Because, in fact, the news media said, I think I was watching CNN, and one of the ladies said, the story's not going away. We're going to keep on the story. And I'm just like, yeah, we know why you're staying on the story, because if Donald Trump is affected by it in the news media, you got your pound of flesh. Look at the influence we have. That's what the news media is trying to do. That's what the news media needs. They need Donald Trump to get pressure, or be pressured by the news media that he acts. And if they have that pressure, it never ends. Then it's everything. Elon Musk was in Green Bay, Wisconsin over the weekend. If you saw it, you know what I'm going to play. If you didn't, stay tuned for this. In the next hour, I got to break this down. I think, and I am almost positive, that what Elon Musk did at Social Security exposed a myth, or at least something that the left has been calling a myth for a long time. You may remember it as demographic change. Everyone told us that demographic change didn't exist, and anyone who suggested it was a conspiracy QAnon. Was it a QAnon conspiracy theorist? That's what I meant to say. But what they found out at Social Security, they put up on a big screen yesterday in Wisconsin. It was amazing to watch this. I also want to talk about the fact that do you notice that there's a weird shift in Silicon Valley? If you haven't, I want to talk about that as well. This weird sort of like change that's happened is beneficial to our republic, not to Republicans, to our republic. And it's an amazing thing to watch. So I want to play a little bit of that as well. Was there something else that I needed to get into here? Okay, Antonio Garcias, we'll talk about that. That was it. We got to play this thing. So over the weekend was also the Elon Musk takedown protest or whatever that nonsense was. I've got two great pieces of audio that you've got to hear. And the left, if you pay attention, the left was kind of reserved in this protest. Many people were concerned about violence erupting at these protests. There were some. We had one person arrested who attacked a Elon Musk supporter with their car. So far, he's been the only person that was arrested. I told people that I wasn't all that concerned, and I knew that the Democrat Party was very afraid of what was going to happen. And a lot of people say, it's like, oh, they don't want to have their own January 6th. Nah, that wasn't what they were concerned about. They weren't concerned about that at all. They have been associated with domestic terrorism. That's what they've been associated with. And this was going to hurt them. But the stories that I have, the audio that I have for you, is interesting because it shows two very weird sides to what's going on in that space. Now, Roland, do we have to go to our 50-minute break, or do we go straight through? Roland?
There's no commercial breaks.
Okay, so we're not going to any breaks. Okay, good. So I have time. Okay. So I'll play this first one, only because it's perfect. This man looks to be in his 50s, maybe 60s. This guy doesn't look like he would win a shoving match at the nursing home. He is clearly liberal, obviously college educated, and he's never gotten a ticket in his life. Probably never had a run-in with the law outside of a parking ticket or maybe stopped for speeding, if that. So this guy got caught vandalizing a Tesla vehicle. And before the cops could catch him, people on Facebook did and alerted the driver of the Tesla vehicle. The driver of the Tesla vehicle got up in his face and filmed him as he confronted him about vandalizing his car. And it went like this. Pay very close attention. If you're watching online, you'll see his face. You'll probably catch what I caught. You might not be able to do that so much on radio if you're listening, but I'll break that down for you.
It is a hate crime. Did you write a swastika on there?
I'm sorry you're upset.
Did you write a swastika?
It didn't even work. Apparently it doesn't work.
Did you write a swastika on the... It's a key, sir. We see it on the video.
It's not a key.
Did you? Is it a swastika?
I was probably putting my keys in my pocket.
Is it a swastika?
Have you looked at your car? Is there a key mark?
Yes. Is it a swastika?
That's impossible.
It's at the police right now. It's being fingerprinted.
What do you mean it's being fingerprinted?
Because they're trying to track you down. Thankfully, Facebook tracked you down. So your business, your freaking livelihood, everything now.
Listen,
because you chose to write so to tell Facebook that you're sorry for writing a swastika on a Tesla.
Listen, I said I'm sorry.
For what?
And I
For what?
apologize.
For what?
I have nothing against
For
your
what?
car, and I have nothing against you.
So why would you write a swastika on a Tesla?
Obviously, I have something against Elon Musk, but that's not the
So
way
Elon
to
Musk
show my...
owns that car because
No,
it was
he
bought
owns
and
the
paid
company.
for. It was bought and paid for a long time
That's
ago.
why it's misguided, and obviously, I did not intend to do that.
You think about that. He knows it's misguided. He's lashing out at Elon Musk, the person that he's mad at, so he attacks someone else's private property. Now, that's one thing that the left is afraid of, is that they're going to be confronted. People are going to be confronted for this type of behavior. That behavior, what you just saw, that irrational behavior to Elon Musk, attacking private citizens and their private property, that goes beyond January 6th, beyond it. It's not going after Congress. It's not putting those people's lives in danger, as they like to say. This is terrorizing average people for their purchases. That never happened with Bud Light. That never happened with Target, ever. But it's happening with private Tesla owners, people who bought their cars years ago, terrorizing individuals. They're concerned about that. And that man being caught showed you. Now, again, if he was any real rough and tumble guy, he would have pushed back on him. It's like, screw you, you Nazi. Screw you, you bigot. You support that guy. Didn't do anything wrong. He's like, he realizes he stepped too far. Now, let's go one step further. What I say after this is the most important thing. But if you haven't heard this story, share it with your friends. Dateline, Arizona.
We've seen the violence building in cities across the country. Tesla vehicles set on fire in Las Vegas. Graffiti on Tesla cars in Colorado. A man caught on camera keying a Model X in Dallas. And now Tesla owners under attack in Arizona.
I'm just appalled. I didn't buy my car for a political statement. I bought my car because it's really fun to drive. And my politics have nothing to do with that. And I'm ashamed of our society and what they're doing.
This is video of a Tesla attack in Flagstaff last week. It shows a green car pulling up next to a Tesla on busy Route 66, then swerving in front to box the vehicle in. The driver then walks over to the 61-year-old woman in the Tesla and reportedly starts hitting her while she's behind the wheel.
I started to say, you cut me off. What's your problem? But I don't know how much of that got out. And he started to punch me with a closed fist.
At one point, the victim, who wants to hide her identity, says she bit the man's hand. Moments later, the passenger of the green car appears to walk over and pull the attacker away. They finally get back in their car and drive off. The incident is among the latest attacks on Arizona Tesla drivers, being targeted because of the car they drive.
Ladies and gentlemen, leftists are attacking women who drive Teslas. This story is not going to be reported anywhere else. This story is never going to get... Imagine that. Imagine that. A man gets out of his car and punches a woman about the face because of the car that she drives. What does anybody have to say about that? Look, I'm sorry. You see, as long as, and again, what I always believe is if you set the standard, we'll live by it. And a lot of people say, Reese, they're going to compare everything to us. I go, yeah, well, I'm good with that. I want them to compare everything to us. I want January 6th to be associated with everybody who's in MAGA. Do it. Do it. Because then they've got nothing when you say that man represents the left. That man represents every protest across the country. That's how they really feel. There's no separating. They can't. Because according to their standard, we are one in the same. Remember, we're a monolith. January 6 rioters are the same thing as MAGA folks. You know, MAGA folks raid the Capitol. Well, Democrats punch women in the face. No wonder they want men in women's sports. They like abuse of women. They love that stuff. They'll probably just view that man punching a woman in the face as just, I don't know, sportsman-like behavior. Well, the woman could have defended herself against a man. They're equal. Isn't that what we saw? She's driving down the street in her Nazi vehicle, and a good Samaritan drove down the road, cut her off, and then got out of his car and gave her the what for with a closed fist. How dare you support Elon, you evil woman? Oh, yeah, there's another punch in the face for good measure. Oh, goodness gracious. You go home and sell this car. Yes, absolutely. Buy a Saturn. I know they're out of business, but what the hell? You can find one online. Hell, you evil woman. Oh, Jesus. That's what they are. That's what they are. That's the reason why you didn't see any or barely any violence out there. They knew it. This whole takedown of what? There was no takedown. In some places, pro-Tesla people got out there before. They got out there before the anti-Tesla rioters for one reason. Because apparently these unwashed masses don't get up past 10 a.m. They don't get up before 10 a.m., I should say. But they were out there in droves, ready for him, standing in front of him. They took over the space in front of the Tesla dealership going, go Elon. And when the protesters showed up against, they had to stand across the street. Damn it. That's what happens. That's what happens when you're out late, hanging out, smoking, drinking, living unproductive lives. That's what's happening. Let's go to Adam in East Hartford. What's going on, buddy?
You can't go to Adam.
Oh, I can't. Oh, I'm sorry, Adam. Hold on. I just realized. That's right. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the time. I can't go to Adam. Just my bad. I'm thinking we're going to the top of the hour. And, of course, I forget. I'm going to learn this thing eventually. Unwashed masses, Michael B. That's what they are. All right, let me get my whole day correct instead of screwing it up. We'll take a break. We'll be back. First, let's get our weather from Jason Catarinas and our traffic from the BFF's Traffic Center with Mark Christopher. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Reese, good afternoon. If you're heading into Hartford right now, southbound 91 delays 33 down to 32A and B. If you're northbound 91, that moves well. Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. Westbound 84 slowing East Hartford, approaching the Bulky Bridge up to 48 Asylum. 84 eastbound is sluggish, about a half mile before 46 Sisson Avenue into the tunnel. 291 384, that looks good east of the river. 2 eastbound's okay. Glastonbury into Marlboro. 9 northbound, a little slow at the Aragoni Bridge. In Middletown, 9 southbound delays 35 down to exit 32. In Berlin, we have some right lane road work going on there. 84 westbound slowing, approaching the Mixmaster. 84 eastbound is a little tight by exit 18 in Waterbury. Northbound on the Wilbur Cross Parkway, look for delays now approaching 59 into the West Rock Tunnel. If you are traveling into New Haven right now, 91 in the Parkway moving well. South 95 New Haven slowing 46 to 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Cloudy, windy, and warmer on our Monday afternoon with a thunderstorm around. Those storms capable of localized damaging wind gusts and hail, the high 64. Tonight, mostly cloudy, breezy, couple of showers and a thunderstorm this evening. Still capable of localized damaging wind gusts and hail, followed by periods of rain late, the low down to 40. Sunny to partly cloudy, breezy, cooler for us as we make our way into Tuesday with the high of 55. Tuesday night, mainly clear, cold, the low down to 30. On Wednesday, more clouds than sun, the high of 51. We start to rebound toward the end of the week, though. Thursday, we'll have a little morning rain, otherwise mainly cloudy, breezy, and warmer with a high of 68. Friday, a mild day, cloudy in the morning, then sun and some high clouds for the afternoon, the high 66. Mostly cloudy and cooler as we make our way into the weekend Saturday, the high of 50 on Saturday. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Get a head start to your day with WTIC News Talk 1080. Listen to us live on the Odyssey app before you even hit the road. Get the breakdown on the biggest news stories that Connecticut is talking about. To get started, download the Odyssey app and search for WTIC News Talk 1080. WTIC is celebrating 100 years on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. We have partly cloudy skies. Temperature is 63 degrees. We'll keep it in the mid-60s today, and then a good chance for some showers, even some thunderstorms, which could be locally heavy. The forecast details coming up. The president's new tariffs are due to roll out this week. That's including a 25% tariff on foreign cars and parts. Business analyst Jill Schlesinger on what prospective car buyers could be facing.
You could be buying a GM, a Ford, and not even realize that 60% of the component parts of that car have been imported.
Now, the a dealership owner in Kimball, Minnesota, says he's worried that the tariffs will slow down his business.
This is just creating confusion and apprehension in the market.
Hey, what's up, guys? Reese On The Radio.
That's not good for our industry.
As Elon Musk slashes government programs, his Tesla dealerships have been subject to protests, mostly peaceful, including one in Milford recently. But there have been violent incidents nationwide targeting the company and Tesla owners. The state conservative caucus, made up of lawmakers, is asking state leaders to consider any potential attacks to be acts of domestic terrorism. State Representative Craig Fishbein is the caucus chair.
These attacks are undeniable, hate-filled political statements from people trying to intimidate and silence the president and his advisors.
Fishbein says an elected official had his Tesla damaged, and a lobbyist's wife received a critical note left on her Tesla. WTIC is asking state police if they have any major incidents regarding Tesla in Connecticut. Still waiting to hear back. The death toll has surpassed 2,000 in that powerful earthquake in Myanmar. Here's correspondent Anna Karin.
Damaged roads, bridges and downed power lines have made it impossible for rescue teams to reach communities in this impoverished country. So far, China, Russia and India have responded with humanitarian aid and teams on the ground, along with other regional neighbors.
Despite cuts and layoffs, a team from USAID is headed to the quake zone. Police in Farmington have arrested 4 people in connection with a big fight and a stabbing Sunday at the West Farms Mall. Say it was around 4:30 that the 4 got into it. They say 18-year-old Destiny Burgos of Hartford began fighting with a 15-year-old who then pulled out a pocket knife and stabbed Burgos in the leg multiple times. Others in the group were fleeing by the time police arrived. In fact, 2 had fled into an adjacent wooded area. 15-year-old stabbing suspect is being charged with first-degree assault. Burgos charged with third-degree assault. UConn women's basketball team plays for a spot in the Final Four tonight. Huskies meet the Trojans of USC in the Spokane Regional Final. Trojans will be without their star guard Juju Watkins, who suffered a knee injury earlier in the tournament. UConn coach Gino Auriemma says even without Watkins, USC is a formidable opponent.
You know, someone has to step up and do all the heavy lifting, and that, you know, normally would be, you know, somebody like Juju. But if you have enough good people around her, which they do, they will get a chance to stand out even more than they would have ordinarily.
Tip-off slated for 9 p.m. Closing bell report sponsored by Bouvier Insurance. The numbers today on the Dow up 417 points. NASDAQ down 23, S&P up 30. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Do you know a veteran in need? After many veterans struggle to find their way home. Because to a veteran, home isn't just a place, it's an idea, a feeling. Nation's Finest understands the challenges veterans face. Through the VA's Supportive Services for Veteran Families program, we help veterans and their families struggling with rent, employment, and other housing-related costs. Today, Nation's Finest operates more than 30 locations in California, Arizona, and Nevada. For more than 50 years, we've helped thousands of veterans in these communities build happy, healthy, and purposeful lives. And our team is committed to supporting those who've served and their families for another 50. To get help, visit nationsfinest.org or call 1-468-9676. That's 1-833-468-9676.
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, I want to play this video. It was a super cut that I put together, and it's on my TikTok page. And if you're on TikTok and you want to follow me there, you can. I don't really promote it all that much, but it's Reese on the Radio on TikTok. If you do are on that social media. Anyway, so this was a video that I put together. And it was Tucker Carlson, who was, of course, on his former Fox show talking about demographic change. And we'll get into this in an hour, and we'll get to your phone calls as well. So demographic change, what's the purpose of it? You all know, for those of you who do. If you don't, in essence, it is to influx a bunch of out-of-towners from the southern border. Give them, if not driver's licenses, social securities, give them the opportunity to vote in national elections. That means that your state stays blue forever. It's cheating. This is that supercut. Listen close.
It is the secret to the entire immigration debate. Demographic change is the key to the Democratic Party's political ambitions.
This conspiracy theory has been increasingly echoed by many who are on the right.
Those like Fox's Tucker Carlson, who continue to push dangerous and baseless conspiracies.
Now,
I really think because of demographic changes in this country, I think that the Democratic Party is going to win Texas moving forward, and the Democrat.
Now, remember, when Tucker Carlson said demographic change was the root, everything. They said that anybody who peddles in this was a conspiracy theorist. What you are about to hear is the evidence.
The Democratic Party is going to be in power for the next 30, 40 years.
Demographic change is the key to the Democratic Party's political ambition.
The demographic change that's happening in America right now gives the upper hand to Democrats.
Demographic change is the key to the Democratic Party's political ambition.
The census that just came out especially drives home the point that Texas is next.
It's a state where the demographics are changing in ways that are favorable to the Democratic Party.
Demographic changes that help the Democrats.
Democrats for a decade now, along with Arizona and Texas, have had on this sort of long-term project of trying to take some red states across the Sun Belt and flip them blue as demographic changes are taking place there.
Democrats should be asking themselves, as a matter of fact, why aren't they dominating the political landscape? 2 decades ago, the influential book, The Emerging Democratic Majority, predicted they would due to demographic changes in the country.
We've been predicting for some time that demographic changes were going to eventually move North Carolina, Georgia, Texas.
Demographic change is the key to the Democratic Party's political ambitions.
Not so much of a conspiracy theory, is it? At all. Let's get another check of the weather with Jason Catarinas, but first, Mark Christopher is in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Reese, thank you very much. Good afternoon. Southbound 91, look for delays. Hartford 33 down to 32 A and B. It's quiet. Northbound 91, Cromwell up into Windsor. Westbound 84 slowing, approaching the Bulky Bridge to 48 Asylum. 84 eastbound a little tight. 46 into the tunnel. 291, 384, that looks good east of the river. No problems. 2 eastbound Glastonbury to Marlboro. 9 southbound, some slow traffic from 35 in New Britain down to 33 in Berlin. We had some earlier road work there. If you are traveling into Middletown, 9 northbound, slowing Harbor Park up to the Aragoni Bridge. 84 westbound Waterbury slowing at the Mixmaster. 84 eastbound slowing by exit 18 in Waterbury. 95 southbound delays in New Haven. 46 down to 42 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
Heading through tonight, mostly cloudy, breezy. Couple of showers and thunderstorms this evening could still produce some localized damaging wind gusts and hail. Then periods of rain late tonight, the low down to 40. Sunny to partly cloudy, a breezy day for us on Tuesday with the high 55. More clouds and sun, a little cooler on Wednesday with the high down to 51. Then Thursday, after a little morning rain, mainly cloudy, breezy and warmer, the high moving up to 68. A mild day Friday with a cloudy morning, then filtered sunshine for the afternoon, the high 66. Cooler as we head into the weekend on Saturday, a mostly cloudy day, the high of 50. Right now it's 63 in Meriden, 64 in Waterbury, 72 in Danbury, 61 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Our critically injured veterans and first responders are left behind every day because of inadequate wheelchairs. That's right, Wheelchairs for Warriors is on a mission to serve America's heroes across the nation and provide them with custom-fit wheelchairs, tailored to fit their needs to ensure they rejoin their lives at the highest level of independent mobility and function possible. From lightweight daily use chairs or adaptive sports chairs to all-terrain wheelchairs to get these warriors outdoors, Wheelchairs for Warriors serves those who served us. To join their mission, visit their website at wheelchairsforwarriors.org today.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. 1 minute. Screen and other safety
Thank you,
measures
sir.
are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with a sun protection factor, or SPF, of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. UVA rays age the skin, UVB rays burn, and both cause cancer. But the perfect sunscreen doesn't count if you use it wrong. Don't need sunscreen on a cloudy day? Wrong. 80% of UV rays still get through the haze. Only use sunscreen at the beach? Nope. Anytime you're outside, UV rays attack the skin, so you need protection. And you have to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equals in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
It's Reese on the Radio. Ask your doctor if common sense is right for you. On News Talk 1080 WTIC.
And don't forget, folks, in just 2 days,
It's peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly with a baseball bat, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly with a baseball bat.
that's right. If you go to Between Rounds at any of its 5 locations and pick up a Reese's peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you can give $1, or you will be giving $1 to the Friendly Hands Food Bank. Our great friends over there, Karen Thomas, of course, the director of Friendly Hands Food Bank. You'll be helping out a great cause, and of course, helping out our sponsor, Between Rounds. And of course, don't forget, at the end of the show, we have our last but not least caller of the day, who will win a a dozen bagels a month for 6 months, courtesy of Between Rounds. We'll get into that a little bit. And your phone calls are coming up in a second. I want to go back to this because that demographic change thing is very important because of a guy by the name of Antonio Gracias. And what Elon Musk is doing in bringing in all of these Silicon Valley guys, these really, really wealthy, smart people who are very, they're in the tech space like no other. And these guys were loved and beloved by the left because, you know, they were the future. They were associated with the future of these groups. I mean, I always go back to Occupy Wall Street as that moment we recognized how Silicon Valley was involved in promoting something that really didn't have a lot of support. How Silicon Valley helped bolster the support for those things. And Occupy Wall Street and Black Lives Matter benefited from the tech world. But none of that was profitable. Why? And look, this sounds messed up, but I'm just going to be honest with you. They were supporting the people who are least likely to purchase Silicon Valley products. They just were. Why? Because they're perpetually poor. They don't buy cars. They don't buy homes. When they buy technology, it's sparing. Sure, they get the next, cell phone that comes out. But remember, there's a payment plan attached to every plan. That's, you get a new cell phone, you have to spend $45 a month for that plan, and it pays off the $1,000. Nobody buys them outright. So while they were screaming and hollering about Silicon Valley, about how much they were supportive, they were not purchasing anything that was beneficial to them. Who are the people who are benefiting from Silicon Valley? Captains of industry were. And finally, they realized, hey, look, if we're going to make any money in this, we're going to have to join the other side. And they have. Enter a guy by the name of Antonio Gracias. Well, he was in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and he gave a speech, kind of like a TED Talk, if you will, with Elon Musk in tow. And he revealed this. And if you didn't see it, everything you ever thought about illegals, Social Security, and voting were made truthful because of Antonio. Listen.
Look, if I hadn't seen this myself, I'm not sure I'd have believed it. I went through it myself and mapped it, and Elon is right. This is true. The defaults in the system from Social Security to all of the benefit programs have been set to max inclusion, max pay for these people, and minimum collection. That's what's happening. We found 1.3 million of them already on Medicaid, as an example. We've gone through, on every benefit program we went through, we found groups from this particular group of people, this 5.5 million people, in those benefit programs. And then what was really, really disturbing us was why.
Now, I got to stop him there. He's talking about, through a couple of years, 5.5 million people who were allowed to come into the country who are illegals. They found at least 1.3 million of them receiving Medicaid payments. Medicaid. And people talk about we don't need to cut the waste, fraud, and abuse. But what they found out on top of that was, and again, this is Gracias going through the Social Security Department. Social Security. Aside from over 1 million people who are getting those benefits from Medicaid, he also found this.
We're asking ourselves why. Right. And so we actually just took a sample and looked at voter registration records. And we found people here registered to vote in this population, yes.
And who did vote?
And we found some by sampling that actually did vote. And we have referred them to prosecution at the Homeland Security Investigation Service.
Yeah.
Already. That is already happening right now.
Now, people who talk this stuff about demographic change and how that's QAnon, how that's absolutely untrue. Everyone is in on this. Every one of the elected officials. Everyone who says that immigrants are the most important demographic of our political party. I'm looking at you, Chris Murphy. You're down too. You know this is happening too. You are complicit in this. You know this is going on. This is the reason why you have a problem with Elon Musk. This is the reason why you have a problem with the Trump administration. You know this is happening. You are for this happening. So please spare me this nonsense about resisting. What you're resisting are people pushing back and finding the corruption. You, my friend, are corrupt. Lamont, you too, corrupt. William Tong, you too, corrupt. That's right. Yeah, I said it. Come with it. Tell me, because all I need from any one of you, oh yeah, I didn't forget you, Dick. I didn't forget you. All of you, corrupt. Because if those are the numbers that they were able to find in the little bit of time that they've been there, we're talking about what, 50, maybe less than a couple of days? Over 5 million people, 1.3 million of them getting benefits. You guys believe that you want to be a part of the solution? You should be condemning this immediately, but you're not. You're rallying the crowds, telling them to, close to, being disobedient. You say civil disobedience, but we know what you really mean. You're telling them to resist. Resist what? What should they resist? Stopping this? Come on, bro. 860-522-WTIC. Now let's go to Adam in East Hartford. Hey, Adam.
Hey, thanks for taking the call, Reese. I was going to talk about the races again. I wanted to ask your opinion. I had a guy, he went to a Christian radio station banquet, and I was there too.
Okay.
And he wanted to get in a fight with me because of something I said on the air.
On this show?
It wasn't about him. At a Christian radio station banquet, yeah. All it was said that with the gun problem that's on both sides. That I admit that in Chicago and Detroit, that you have a lot of black-on-black crime where a lot of black youths die at the hands of one another, right?
Yeah.
But I also said you have angry white male, like the guy that shot Gabby Giffords. Let's say he lives with his mother, has no job, no future, and somehow he gets his hand on an AR-15.
Well, no, he shot Gabby Giffords with a 9mm.
Oh, okay. But sometimes you get that, though, angry white male. Remember the angry white male that shot up supermarket in Buffalo?
Yes, I do. I remember. In fact, people should read his manifesto because there's a lot that people are ignoring about that, and the left holds a lot of responsibility for that man's for that man's outrage that day. He believed that African Americans didn't care about climate change enough. Did you know that?
Right. Well, yeah. What I'm saying though is that I'm a white guy, but I'm just saying that the gun problem's on both sides. That if there is a gun problem out there, or violence or mental problem, whatever is out there.
Yeah, but saying that, you know what, I would put it to you this way. Saying that there is a gun problem out there is just like blaming a fork and a spoon for the obesity problem, right? Those are just the utensils to do the thing that harms you, if you get my meaning, right? So the gun is right. The gun is just the object that you use to wreak havoc. Sort of like a knife and a spoon, or a fork and a spoon are used in order for you to eat, in excess. I wouldn't blame a fork and a spoon. I would say that your behavior needs to change so that you don't eat yourself into oblivion. And I would say utilizing a gun to harm people doesn't mean that without the gun, you won't harm people. What's inside of you as an individual is the impetus. That's the thing that creates the harm. The gun is only the tool in which you utilize for said harm.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, thanks for always taking our calls, Reese.
I appreciate you, sir. You got it. Tom is in Thomaston. How you doing, Tom?
Hey, I'm well. Hey, I don't expect you to comment much on this, but I just had a call in.
Okay.
At the last news hour, the newsman, I call him an operative.
I think he's just reading. He's just reading copy. It's not a person. He doesn't have any personal.
Somebody wrote the copy. He's talking about the Teslas, and he's got to make his commentary. There's most.
I didn't hear it. So wait. I didn't hear it. So I don't understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you. He was talking about the Teslas and the violence, but he has to preface it with most of the Tesla protests are nonviolent and there's no problems, but there has been some violence.
Where was the violence? But wait a minute. Most of them, hold on, there were 200 protests. How many of them were violent?
Well, not too many, but Reese,
Okay.
if it was a conservative group doing something, there wouldn't be the caveat that most were
Okay,
nonviolent.
I'm going to
was
take that
they
into
were
consideration.
violent.
Listen, Tom, I'm going to take that into consideration. But I'm saying on the base, and hear me out. John Vila, I don't think has a political bone in his body. The point is that most of them were peaceful. If that's in the copy, that's in the copy. I don't think he's taking an angle on that. So hear me out. I get what you're saying is because you are playing it on the sort of the whataboutism on this on both sides. I get it. That frustration everybody feels. But I want to look at it this way. I expected, like you, to see every one of those dealerships have to be calling a fire department or calling glass distributors to actually fix their front doors or getting a spray paint off their walls. We didn't see any of that. But as I described earlier, that was never going to happen because the left never wants to be compared to January 6th. Now, you said there was some violence over the weekend. Can you tell me where there was?
No. Well, maybe I misspoke. I
Okay.
meant, the violence at the dealerships. And Reese, I didn't think there was going to be 260 burn the Teslas to the ground.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that you did. I'm just saying that out of all of them, we didn't see. I'm yet to see one incident where a Tesla dealership was either firebombed or attacked or people were rallying inside. They were mostly, and I didn't agree with the term, when I say peaceful, in the sense of no Tesla dealership had to deal with vandalism during these protests, unless you saw it somewhere else that I'd missed.
I didn't, but my point is almost all protests are peaceful. There's only a couple ruins on the left and the right.
Right.
But they would never say that if it was a Republican or a conservative issue. It's only when it's a liberal issue that they point out how most people are good and they just
Can I pick your brain on this one, Tom, real quick? And again,
Sure.
I don't want to push this back on you, but I'm just asking. And this again, there are no wrong answers here. Because I get what your frustration is, and I think you're making that clear. Is that the news media is doing what the news media has always done, and that is editorialize when it's conservative, and then and show a form of protectivism when it's on the left. Is that your argument?
Exactly.
Okay. Good. Okay. Somebody said this to me yesterday, and I think it was my wife who said it. He goes, "You have people in the world who are bitten by a snake and then chase the snake to find out why it bit them, instead of recognizing that snakes bite." Do you get my point?
Yeah, I understand that. That makes total
sense, right? So, and when my wife said it, I went, literally my whole brain exploded. I went, damn, like I used to look at the world in that way. It's like I always wanted to know why the person wronged me instead of accepting that that's who they are, right? The acceptance of who they are is who they are. You and I do believe this. I think I started this radio station saying that same thing, is that we've got to get a little past the idea that they are going to sort of consider us or adhere to our better angels or their better angels and report the way that we want them to. We just have to accept that this is the way that things are, but we can't make that norm for them the way in which we behave. So in essence, if we know that it's slanted, we have to accept that it's slanted and not let it have it affect us beyond that. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Good. Last word.
Yeah. Okay. Last word. I would expect that from a politician.
Right.
Both right and left are going to be slanted.
Right.
I guess I'm naive. I think the news media should report honestly. Now, you can never get 100% honest.
Right.
Because everyone has their own views. But that's the reason why in the early 90s I went to Fox News, because I was sick and tired of every single report having a slant.
Yeah. But you know what? I was like that. Listen, don't get me wrong. In my adult life, there were websites I stopped, like this website called Mediaite.com. I found myself one day, I would read it every day and I would get sound bites for it from my podcast. And I've started feeling like they would put these headlines that were completely misguided or absolutely screwing up the truth in some sort of way, or misstating certain things, or sensationalizing in some ways, and it was making me angry. And then I said to myself, okay, I'm going to stop doing it. And then the worst thing happened to me afterwards, Tom. The same thing happened with Newsbusters, MRC TV. They're on the right, and they were doing the same thing that was sort of ticking me off. And like, oh my God, it happens on both sides on two websites that I frequent. They were actually getting an emotion out of me. And guess what? I finally realized it's not them. It's always me. If I'm being emotional, it has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with me. So that's the way I look at it. Tom, I got to go, but I appreciate it, man. I get where you're coming from, and I feel you. But like I said, just stop chasing the snake. That's all. Just stop. Sometimes you got to stop chasing the snake. They bite because they bite. Let's get another check of the weather and the traffic with Jason Catarinas and Mark Christophers in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, buddy. Oh, you can't get better. I love Duran Duran.
Double D, Simon LeBon. Hey, if you're heading into Hartford right now, 84 eastbound, you got delays. 44 Prospect Oakwood down into the tunnel. Westbound 84 is tied up approaching the Bulkley Bridge to 47 Sigourney. Southbound 91's a little slow, getting by 33 Jennings Road in Hartford. Looks real good. 91 northbound Cromwell up into Windsor Locks. 291 384 okay east of the river. 2 eastbound, no issues. Glastonbury into Marlboro. Quiet Middletown 9 in the Aragoni Bridge. 84 eastbound, just a little slow in Waterbury, pushing up on exit 18. Sluggish traffic in Danbury. 84 eastbound 3 to 5. If you are southbound 95 New Haven, a little slow 46 down to 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Cloudy, windy, and warmer this afternoon with a thunderstorm around. Some of those could produce localized damaging wind gusts and hail, the high of 64. Then tonight, mostly cloudy, breezy. Still a couple of showers and a thunderstorm this evening, capable of localized damaging wind gusts and hail again. Then periods of rain late, the low down to 40. On Tuesday, sunny to partly cloudy, breezy, a little cooler, the high of 55. Wednesday, more clouds and sun, the high 51. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Get a head start to your day with WTIC News Talk 1080. Listen to us live on the Odyssey app before you even hit the road. Get the breakdown on the biggest news stories that Connecticut is talking about. To get started, download the Odyssey app and search for WTIC News Talk 1080. And now, a WTIC news update.
It's 4:30. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. Police in Berlin want to know who's been tearing up fields in town. Second field was damaged over the weekend near the lot at Percival Pool. Earlier this month, vandals damaged Sage Front Field. Man's under arrest for setting fire to a CT fast-track bench at a stop in Hartford. Aaron Davis is charged. Troopers say they spotted Davis with 2 butane torches early Sunday at the Kane Street stop after the Saturday fire on Sigourney Street. Death toll from that earthquake in Myanmar now 2,000, 1,700, with 3,400 having been injured and 300 still missing. And it is UConn and USC for a spot in the Final Four tonight. Trojans will be without Juju Watkins, who injured her knee earlier in the tournament, and that game tips off at 9 o'clock. Wall Street, the Dow up 417 points, NASDAQ down 23, S&P up 30. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Do you know a veteran in need? After leaving the military, many veterans struggle to find their way home. Because to a veteran, home isn't just a place, it's an idea, a feeling. Nation's Finest understands the challenges veterans face. Through the VA's Supportive Services for Veteran Families program, we help veterans and their families struggling with rent, employment, and other housing-related costs. Today, Nation's Finest operates more than 30 locations in California, Arizona, and Nevada. For more than 50 years, we've helped thousands of veterans in these communities build happy, healthy, and purposeful lives. And our team is committed to supporting those who've served and their families for another 50. To get help, visit nationsfinest.org or call 1-833-468-9676. That's 1-833-468-9676.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. Sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with a sun protection factor, or SPF, of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. UVA rays age the skin, UVB rays burn, and both cause cancer. But the perfect sunscreen doesn't count if you use it wrong. Don't need sunscreen on a cloudy day? Wrong. 80% of UV rays still get through the haze. Only use sunscreen at the beach? Nope. Anytime you're outside, UV rays attack the skin, so you need protection. And you have to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
President of the Chris Murphy Fan Club, Reese on the Radio, on News Talk 1080, WTIC.
I don't think anybody really, like, I know that a lot of people in the 80s really loved Duran Duran, but I had a love-hate relationship with Duran Duran. It was because they killed it in the 80s. Everything they did was just loved and adored. And they were just, you could not be a cool person as a guy and like Duran Duran. Especially at that time. You just couldn't. And I loved them, but you could not tell people that you liked them. You just couldn't. I don't know what that was about. The girls could love them. But it's like Julie B. in Boston just said, Duran Duran were so sexy as India. Yes, I get it. Simon Le Bon was, he's a pretty boy. But I liked them and I hated them. It was a weird relationship that I had with that band. And I would listen to them. It was the same thing with In Excess. Loved them, but never tell my friends that I did. Never would tell my friends. Like, if you ask any one of my friends if I like Duran Duran, In Excess, what was another band that was out there back then? Thompson Twins. No, I wasn't a big fan of them. Simple Minds. Not a big, I never told anybody that I was into them. OMD. Any of those, electronic bands. Morrissey. The Smiths. The Cure. I tried to play The Cure for my wife the other day. She looked at me like I was insane. Who? What? What is this? She was like, what is this stuff? What is this nonsense? That's The Cure. In Excess was a different universe. They were kind of like they were Irish. So what do you expect? I liked U2, but then they got too political and corny. That Octoon Baby thing turned me off. I was done. But I liked them back in the Joshua Tree era. That was the album. Depeche Mode. You couldn't tell your boys that you liked Depeche Mode. Next thing they're asking you whether or not you're living an alternative lifestyle. You couldn't tell. Were they Australian? Yes, they were. You're right. They were Australian. Why did I think they were Irish? You know who I know who I'm confusing them with. I don't know. I just don't. My deal with Duran Duran was I liked them, but I couldn't tell anybody. It was like having a secret band. Like nobody could see that. When friends would come over, I would hide their CDs. That's how crazy it was. Say a Prayer for Me Now, I still have on my phone. I do. I can pull it up right now. That song's there. And in fact, I have it on there twice. I don't know. I was crazy about it. In Excess, the X album, still listen to it to this day. To this day. I can't think of anybody else. Depeche Mode, everybody knows I'm a big Depeche Mode fan. I can say it now because I don't care whether or not, anybody says I'm not cool. Everybody I know loves Depeche Mode. Everybody I know. So I can't even think of that. I know you've never... Have you ever listened to any of these bands, Roland? Like any of these people even ring a bell to you?
Negative.
No. I remember there's a video out there. I have to find it. I was talking to Roseanne about these bands, and she kept saying, you keep saying words, but these sound like names that were made up. Oh, that's what it was. I told her that one of my favorite groups was Echo and the Bunnymen, and she was like, that's an actual name? I'm like, yeah, it's an actual group. She's like, no, it's not. She thought I was making it up. Oh, really? NXS has got some documentaries? I would love to. I remember exactly where I was when Michael Hutchinson hung himself. I was in New York, Times Square, across the street from the ESPN zone, having lunch with my, then girlfriend, Laura, from Danbury, and her stepsister. And it went across, and if you ever been to Times Square, that ticker that goes around, the news sticker, and that's where it came wrong. Frontman of INXS dies of suicide. Came right across that screen. I'll never forget that. That was a big. We were all crushed, too. We were just like, no. Yeah. Michael Hutchinson's INXS. Mark Christopher is in the BPS Traffic Center. Mark, did you listen to any of those guys? I know you were a Duran Duran guy, obviously.
INXS.
Yeah, INXS.
Oh my God, I love INXS.
Yeah,
Are you kidding?
That X album was just. Or what was it?
my
Was it
God.
X or 10? What was the name of that album?
I don't even remember.
I know it was
now,
X, but I don't know whether or not it was a Roman numeral or not.
There he is.
Great song.
Great song.
Need You Tonight. I will tell you this, though. It was brilliant of them to do it because it actually introduced me to a song that I would have never, ever known. After the Deviate video.
Yeah, that's right, because it goes into Deviate.
Yes.
It kind of flows right into
Yes.
that.
I Need You Tonight goes into Deviate, but you know the music video is a Bob Dylan music video.
Really?
That's where they took it from. Yes. That whole thing where they're pulling out the
never knew that.
placards to the lyrics, that's a Bob Dylan ripoff. Yeah.
Well, I never knew that.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? Just the music, the stories you learn about how these songs come to be and where they're from and all that is pretty amazing. Well, if you're heading into downtown Hartford right now, Reese, things are looking pretty good overall. 84 eastbound.
I knew that last song he just played.
From
Oh, yeah, of course you know that one.
To the Berkeley, Westman 84 Little.
I know that one.
Yeah.
5 Flatbush Avenue, South 91.
What rapper sampled that? A rapper sampled that.
I don't know.
91 Cromwell up into Windsor.
Now I have to look it up.
291 384. That looks good east of the river. 2 eastbound's okay. Glastonbury to Marlboro. Quiet Middletown. Waterbury's a little slow. 84 eastbound approaching 18. 84 eastbound, you'll see some slow traffic in Danbury from 3 to 5. Again, a little slow by exit 9 in Newtown. South 95 New Haven slows 46 down to 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the
No,
8th
Craig, he committed
WTIC
suicide.
News Talk 1080.
Hung himself. Hotel room, I believe.
Mostly cloudy, breezy tonight. Couple of showers and thunderstorms this evening could produce localized damaging wind
And I
gusts.
didn't know
and
they
some
were
hail
Australian.
below
Why
down
did I
to
think they were
40. We'll
Irish?
get some periods of rain after those storms through the overnight. Then sunny to partly cloudy on Tuesday. It'll be breezy, the high 55. Going to feel a little chilly, especially if you're in the shade. Then more clouds and sun Wednesday, the high down to 51. Little morning rain Thursday. Otherwise, not a bad day. Mainly cloudy, breezy to warmer, the high of 68. Mild Friday, cloudy morning with filtered sunshine for the afternoon, the high of 66 to round out the week. It's 52 in New London. It's 59 in Mansfield. It's 61 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Unused prescription opioid pain medicines can spell trouble. They can spell risk if taken by someone they weren't prescribed for, harm if accidentally taken by a child or pet, or overdose if they're not used as directed. Safely dispose of opioids before they can hurt your family. Find a drug take-back option such as medicine drop boxes. You may find these in your community at local pharmacies or police stations. Visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Who do I wrestle for?
One minute.
On my
Yeah, I
high
know
school
that.
team for Jason Garcia, my fiercest competitor during practice and my biggest fan during meets. I wrestle for my parents who practice what they preach, the importance of hard work, commitment, and dedication. I wrestle for the chance to put our little high school right here in Connecticut on the map.
Wearing the uniform of your high school comes with a big responsibility. Younger kids look up to you. Your teammates count on you. And the reputation of your high school depends on you. Do you have what it takes to participate in a high school sport?
And I wrestle for the glory that is mine when I do. That's who I wrestle for.
This message presented by the Connecticut Interscholastic Athletic Conference and the Connecticut Association of Athletic Directors.
The self-proclaimed love child of Rush Limbaugh.
They're running a strange program, y'all.
Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
It looks like the score, well, Orioles have a runner in scoring position. Scores 3-4. Orioles ahead. They seem to be hitting the ball pretty well, 10 hits versus the Red Sox, 6 hits. And, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. They've got at least an inning and a half.
Be right back.
To make it all go away. Yeah, I will watch that In Excess concert video, Live Baby. I think I've seen that before. I feel like I've seen that already. Hey, George, let's go to Jorge in St. Louis. How we doing, Georgie?
Reese, I waited 46 minutes to get on the air today.
Sorry, buddy.
Your phone management is horrible. It is.
I apologize. What do you got, George?
No, I'm not kidding. I waited through 2 commercial breaks and narratives from the radio station and extensive garbage from some of the people that called in.
Oh, come on now. Don't insult
say,
people. Now, that's not nice.
I usually say my piece in 2 minutes and get off.
Let's go
But
then.
Here's what I have to say. People used to be cleaner, and years ago. They used to pick up their trash.
Sure.
I was in the Boy Scouts. We volunteered to pick up roadside trash. Anyone that objects to Doge, they really do have a unkept mind. Do you remember the phrase "home training"?
Yes.
They're in need of home training if they object to Doge, to the waste and fraud, especially the waste. The true $1 trillion that's been wasted during the Biden administration, stolen, and decades beyond that. Anyone that objects really has trashy habits if they don't want the government cleaned up.
You have to understand. Oh no, that's okay. Listen, the reason why they don't want government cleaned up is because, again, when you find out that inside that bureaucracy you can actually just launder money. You launder the taxpayer dollars, is finding some way. How can I get that money back into my coffers some way?
Anyway, Reese,
that's what they do.
Getting back to what I was ask your listeners how long they have to wait to get on.
Everybody's got to wait at least 40 minutes in some cases. Nothing for you to get mad about. I'm sorry, no offense, but it's a different show. I know it ever used to be everybody just come on. It's a different show. It's just not the show that it used to be. I hope you understand. If you don't, I understand too. 860-522-WTIC. Let's go to Corey and Meriden. Hey, Corey.
What's up, man? You're bringing me back to the days. In Excess? Oh, man.
I know. Now, hold on. Now, my point on that is look, for me, it was a little different because everybody I knew growing up was Run DMC, LL Cool J. This was, pre, Wu-Tang Clan and all that other stuff. But we had, there was a bravado, I'm the king of this, and I rap better than this. So there was a very macho sort of approach to, the music we listened to. And we had bands that were we had Van Halen in the 80s. It's before the hair band thing goes nuts. But there's a very, how do I put it, macho approach to the music industry, or at least the bands that were out there, be it rap or rock. These guys came off wearing suits and espadrilles and, shoes with no socks. There was a little bit of androgynous sort of thing. So you couldn't tell your boys you were into these bands.
I still have Stockholm syndrome because I was raised in the 80s, and I'm oh my God, when you said that, it blew my mind.
So you can relate. I get it.
Yes, no, it's horrible. Bringing back bad memories. Anyway, hey man, no, they found out who's that just called Jorge?
Yeah, George in St. Louis.
George. I'll follow up with what he was saying here. So did you see this weekend? And I remember this even, and maybe he's been listening for a while.
Oh, you were talking about Tom and Thomaston, who was talking about the news break.
Oh, yeah, maybe the news break.
Yeah.
But he's talking about like Doge and cleaning up the government and stuff.
Oh, okay. That's George. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I remember talking to Jimmy Vicevich and Todd and all this other stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a big hot topic about geoengineering, right? And all of a sudden it gets brought up in topic again the past week because everybody's wondering about their electric bills, and there's a tie together. Did you see that RFK and Trump are going after the geoengineering money and admitted that it's been operating for the past 20 years here in the skies?
Yep.
He's going after it, and maybe our solar would start working again, and people would be like, okay, why is there so much aluminum in our soils? It's just amazing that everybody's called crazy over the past few years, and it's like, it's right in your face. But more and more what Doge is doing, it's like every single day now, all of the stuff that's been told as a conspiracy is coming into fruition, and now the pressure is being laid on Connecticut after 31 states now have passed laws. Well, they're going to do it at the federal government level, and wait till you see the amount of money that they've spent on this. I think your eyes are going to pop out of your head.
What's the interesting thing is, and you think about guys like Chris Murphy, who have been very vocal about this, but other, senators and Congress folks as well. But if you actually watch them, look at what they're asking of their constituents. They're asking them to go out on the street and do their bidding. I know there's a big march that's supposed to happen on April 5th. And did you hear what the resistance is saying inside the resistance? I don't know if you heard about this, but I've been seeing it everywhere. You should look this up. So apparently this protest on March 5th is supposed to be a march on Washington, where they're in essence sort of like they're revolting against, they're revolting against the administration. But do you want to know what one constituency is saying to the left on this? And it's the most amazing. They're telling black folks to stay home. Did you hear this? It's insane. They're saying, and it's all over the place. They're saying, it's like, hey, when these people go and march on Washington on April 5th, black people, sit your butt down. Don't join it. These ain't your problems. Sit down and relax. Let them white folks sort it out, which I thought was hilarious. They're telling, and I don't know what that's about, but I think that there are some rumblings that this could get out of hand. The other part is that I hear that, of course, Donald Trump and them are going to be cracking down on these protesters should they go nuts, and I think that's the thing. The phone died. He did have a great point. Michael P., I'm not reading that. The alarm, flock of seagulls, the call, black flag, suicidal tendencies. Let's do this. Hey, you know what? 3. No, I know the call. Black flag, I remember. I wasn't into them. I know suicidal tendencies. I can screw. I can see that one. That one was a considerable group. The alarm, I don't think I know. You're gonna have to hit me to like a popular alarm song in order for me to know that one. Friday, I was supposed to have some songs here that I was gonna play, and I totally forgot. Maybe I'll do it this Friday, because there's so many groups out there that people have not heard of that are in the same vein. I will tell you this. What was that group? Oh, The Killers. That Hot Fuss album, I love that album. Boy, did I love that album. It's one of the few times in life that I ever listened to an entire album and just went, wow. I don't think they'll ever be better than that. I don't know about the Spin Doctors. People say that they were completely underrated. I don't agree. Spin Doctors were just not. I don't know about that band. Some people do like them. I actually watched them in concert once. I did. It was a whole group of people. It was actually, you want to talk about trick step? Let me tell you this one. This will make you laugh. Imagine this concert. The Spin Doctors were the opening band for Alice in Chains. Imagine that. At a Christmas, was it a Christmas? Like, it was around Christmas time. I'm at a concert, and the Spin Doctors are the opening band for Alice in Chains. Yeah, it is bubblegum. Yeah, it's very bubblegum rock. But yeah, Alice in Chains. That was still my favorite song is Rooster. That's always be my song. Polly says, "Bring back No Rose Eye." yes, they did. Yeah, it was a complete opposite of that. Anyway, when we come back, I'm going to talk about this this crazy story, and I didn't do the stupidest thing I read today. This is a crazy story out of England, and we'll do it at the top of the hour, and we'll break that down. If you want to call in, 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. This story is so bizarre. Toddlers being kicked out of school. Toddlers being kicked out of school, suspended, some expelled as young as 5 years old. Yeah, as young as 5 years old, expelled from school. We'll talk about that. And what was the other story that I had here? I know it was one more, and I'm supposed to have this stuff in front of me. Oh, yeah, I want to talk about how tech has turned Republican. Tech has turned from the left to the right, and why it was so easy for them to do it this time around, and it probably drove everybody crazy. And that's what I wanted to talk about. Elon is going to the CIA to have a conversation about efficiency. I'm not going to lie to you. That's going to be an interesting storyline once he gets to the CIA. So we'll talk about that as well. Anyway, let me just read some of the comments here. Okay, people are talking about, Zach's talking about the Smiths. Love the Smiths. Let me see. What is... that would be time to get your drinks before Alice in Chains comes on. Yeah, exactly. I as soon as I heard the Spin Doctors were coming to the stage, I was like, "Whew, too bad I can't leave and come back." And I had to sit through it because I'm waiting for Alice in Chains. By the way, there was a bunch of bands that performed as well. So when I knew Spin Doctors were coming on, and they, you hear them sing "Little Miss Can't Be Wrong," and I'm just like, ugh. It's just so awful. And I had to stay where I was because I wanted to see Alice in Chains. And what's horrible is that I watched the film of this concert afterwards, and it's bizarre because you see me standing in the audience above everybody else near the front of the audience because I'm 6'3", and the average person at that concert is about 5'5". It was really bizarre. It's just, it's crazy. What is it? How about Jimi Hendrix opening for the Monkees at Central Park? And Jimmy getting booed? No way, Michael A. Now, hold on. I will say this. Jimi Hendrix opening up for the Monkees would be like Kanye opening up for Taylor Swift. That would be the same thing, right? Imagine that audience. That would be weird. I'll tell you another weird one. This one will blow your mind. And it really happened. And you'll know both of these groups. Even if you don't like both of them, you'll get it. The headliner was Dave Matthews. And imagine the place smelling. I mean, it reeked of Polo Cologne and Abercrombie and Fitch. The opening act was the Black Eyed Peas. And Fergie was a part of the group at the time. And the kids wanted to see Fergie and the Black Eyed Peas. Again, I've been listening to Black Eyed Peas before Fergie. But they brought in Fergie, I think about the second album, maybe the third album, brought her in. And I will admit that the Black Eyed Peas are much better in concert than you would think. They are. They're 100% better in concert. At least then they were. I don't know what they're like now. They're a lot older. But that concert, Fergie did the one thing, because I was never a fan of Fergie until this happened, because I thought the Black Eyed Peas had gone really top 40 with all this stuff. If you heard their first album, Behind the Front, or was it Behind the Front? Yeah, something like that. Their first album, which is a great album, if you heard that album, having Fergie on the next album, you'd understand that they went a little poppy. Justin Timberlake joined their fold and all that stuff. So Fergie wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan of hers. but I went to go see them at this concert, and Fergie on stage while singing did a one-hand cartwheel while singing on stage. And I looked at that and I went, oh, what? Yeah. She did a one-hand cartwheel with the microphone while she was singing. And I was like, what the hell? And I watched the rest of the concert in amazement, and it was a great show. And then Dave Matthews came on, and I was like, what is this? And I had to go. Not a fan. I know people liked him, but, you know, I consider them like, you know, a much more popular Hootie and the Blowfish in some way. I was never ever a fan. And I didn't understand the black guy with the fiddle. It's not me. I don't know what it is. I never ever got it. I just didn't. Let's get a check of the weather with Jason Catarinas, but first, Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Dave Matthews fan, I presume?
I do like Dave Matthews.
Yeah, I knew it.
Saw him about 3 times, yeah.
Oh, he went to a concert. Yeah. Okay, all right. I never understood that. Didn't the fiddler pass away recently? A couple of years back?
Boy, I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. Somebody's probably going to tell me in the chat room. I do remember that. I know they lost a member recently. He always reminded me of what's the guy who in the East Street Band?
Oh, Clarence Clemens.
There you go. Clarence. He always sort of like Clarence Clemens. I loved. Don't get me wrong. That was
right.
I was a big fan of him. But I always thought of the guy who was the fiddler on the Dave Matthews Band. I always sort of thought they were sort of like a lesser version of the East Street Band. I don't know.
Boyd Tinsley.
Yeah.
He's 60 years old. He was born. He'll be 61 in May.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, that's what it says. Boyd is an American violinist, mandolist, who's best known for having been a member
Okay, so
of
maybe
Dave
it was
Matthews
somebody
Band.
else who passed away then.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think they did. Anyway, what do I know?
I've had some good nights at DMV concerts. Yeah, had some fun. Hey, if you're heading into Hartford right now, westbound 84, not too bad. Just some slow traffic approaching the Bulkley Bridge out to 47 Sigourney. 84 eastbound slows about a half mile before 46th Avenue into the tunnel. Both sides of 91 moving well. Cromwell up into Windsor Locks.
Yes,
291
Polly,
through
that's
84
the name of the
east of
song.
river.
Where's
2
the love?
eastbound
That's
okay,
Black Eyed
Glastonbury
Peas.
to Marlboro. 9 northbound slowing at the Argonne Bridge. 84 eastbound slightly slow by exit 18 in Waterbury. Sluggish 84 eastbound Danbury 3 to 5. Again, 8 up to 9 as you move Danbury into Newtown. 95 southbound New Haven.
Well,
you'll
if
see
you
slow
remember
traffic,
that year,
48
Trick
down
Step,
to 43
that was
in West
the
Haven.
year,
Traffic and weather
whatever
together
year
on the
that
8
was,
WTIC
they were
News
doing
Talk
a tour
1080.
everywhere, and they called it
100 years
Black Eyed Peas
and 100
supports
years of serving
the Dave
Connecticut.
Matthews
This is
Band. They did not say
WTIC and
opening for.
WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
5 o'clock, good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. An arrest has been made in the death of an infant in Hartford nearly 2 years ago. It was April 2023 when police say they were called to a Rosemont Street residence on a report of an unresponsive infant. The baby, Jaheim Morley, later died at Connecticut Children's in Hartford. The chief medical examiner deemed the death a homicide. Police say the investigation turned up a suspect, 27-year-old Dante Morley. An arrest warrant was approved, and it was found Dante Morley was behind bars in Florida on unrelated charges. He's now being held in Hartford on charges of manslaughter and risk of injury and being held on bond. Lawmakers in the General Assembly are considering legislation that advocates say would go a long way in making the roads safer. Currently, police officers cannot stop a vehicle solely for suspected marijuana use behind the wheel. A reason is needed, such as a busted taillight or erratic driving. Meriden Police Chief Rob Rosato says it's become a problem with the increase in crashes and fatalities.
With the rising fatalities and significant injuries sustained as motor vehicle accidents, it is time to improve highway safety and restore accountability. There is growing frustration among law-abiding citizens, motorists, and victims of these accidents.
The bill would allow officers to pull a driver over if they're spotted smoking marijuana behind the wheel, much the same as if someone is caught sipping alcohol behind the wheel. Lawmakers are also trying to tackle testing for marijuana use, similar to field sobriety tests conducted if someone is suspected of DUI. Lawmakers on the state's conservative caucus, the legislature's conservative caucus, want state government to be on the lookout for attacks on Tesla shops, vehicles, and drivers, while protests against Tesla owner Elon Musk and his role in slashing government programs have been mostly peaceful in Connecticut. Caucus Chair Craig Fishbein is concerned as he looks at vandalism elsewhere.
Today, my colleagues and I are calling upon Governor Lamont and all state, federal, and local officials to stand for the rule of law. Immediately and publicly recognize any attacks on Tesla dealers, vehicles, or owners as being acts of domestic terrorism.
Fishbein says an elected official had his Tesla damaged and a lobbyist's wife received a critical note left on her Tesla. Trump administration says new tariffs are on the way. Here's CBS's Stacey Lynn.
The White House says Wednesday will be Liberation Day.
The president will be announcing a tariff plan that will roll back the unfair trade practices that have been ripping off our country for decades.
Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt wouldn't say which countries would be impacted by the reciprocal tariffs.
Any country that has treated the American people unfairly should expect to receive a tariff in return.
And she says the stock market reaction isn't causing them to rethink their plan. Stacey Lynn, CBS News, Washington.
Over the weekend, President Trump floated the idea of his serving a third term in the White House, even though that's prohibited in the 22nd Amendment, saying there are ways to circumvent the Constitution. Not accurate, says Hofstra University constitutional law professor James Sample.
The 22nd Amendment of the Constitution is crystal clear. The plain language is clear. Donald Trump cannot serve a third term, nor can any other individual who has served 2 terms.
In Spokane, the UConn women's basketball team plays in the NCAA regional finals tonight against USC. WTIC's Dave Mager with a preview.
Trying to extend her college career to the Final Four, Paige Beckers is coming off an epic 40-point performance. She faces a USC team that's without star Juju Watkins, who suffered a major knee injury last week.
They're still a great team, and they have great pieces. They made it to the Elite Eight for a reason. Obviously, losing a player like Juju hurts, but they're still a great team. They still got great pieces. I think they run the same sets, but for different people.
UConn is 23-5 all-time in the regional finals, including a UConn win over USC and Watkins last year. The Huskies this time also feature Big East Freshman of the Year, Sarah Strong. Dave Maker, WTIC 1080 News.
Wall Street, the Dow up 417 points today. The NASDAQ down 23. S&P was up 30 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com, which I guess you're right here. John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
All the audio that matters to you is on Odyssey. Odyssey has news that hits home in your local area and around the country. Get local news, traffic, and weather from stations near you. Get national news from CNN, Fox, and more. And explore the biggest news podcasts like The Daily Punch, Pod Save America, and The Daily, AUDACY. Find all the news that matters to you in a universe of audio. Odyssey.
Need good tech advice?
Must be a computer error.
Tune into the Gold.com award-winning Computer Talk with Tab. Saturday
Thank you
mornings,
for that,
9 to
Brandon.
11
I'm
on
going to mention that.
WTIC News Talk 1080.
God, I love technology.
Eric Semmel and Dennis Howland of Tab Computer Systems will keep you updated with tech news you can use and answer your technology questions live on the air. Miss a program? Be sure to the podcast and tune in from anywhere via the Odyssey app. Computer Talk with Tab. Saturday mornings on WTIC News Talk 1080. The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Something also happened at the top of the hour, and I know Edie's been everywhere I've listened to over the last couple of, at least day or two, since it was ever mentioned. But I want people to be critical here, and I want you to think, especially those people on the left or liberals or people who are ambiguous about where they lean. If they're not conservative, they are ambiguous. But I want you to think about this. Top of the hour, John Silver said, about this whole thing about Donald Trump running for a third term. And it seems to be on the lips of every person and talking head and constitutional. All these people are screaming out, it's an absolutely emphatic he cannot. Never can he run again. It's absolutely unconstitutional. It cannot happen. I've just got one question for all of those people screaming and hollering at the top of their heads. Okay? Just one question. So, what's your problem? What's the problem? Well, he's saying it. So, your problem is that he's saying it? What if if it's emphatically true, right? Whatever it is a fact, right? If it's an empirical fact, you don't have to worry about it, right? It's nothing to concern yourself with. If there's empirical evidence that suggests that he cannot run again, he cannot be elected again, and the Constitution says so, what's all the hubbub about? It's a non-story. So are you trying to convince people? Are you concerned that he is convincing others? Like, what is the problem here? Is this the fact check run amok? I've got to fact check it. I've got to fact check it. For what? If there's no argument, there is no argument. If there's no evidence that suggests otherwise, there's nothing to argue with. But Brandon in the chat room said something great. He says, the Second Amendment is also clear, but they abuse that. Always seems to be an argument about that constitutional right. So there's that. Let's get another check of your weather and traffic. Jason Catarinas has got your weather. Mark Christopher is in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, bud.
All right, Reese, thank you very much. Well, 84 eastbound, you got delays half mile before 46th Avenue into the tunnel. Westbound 84 is a little slow. Bulkley Bridge to 48 Asylum. It looks real good. Both sides of 91, no problems. Crime all up into Windsor Locks. 291, 384 moving well. 2 eastbounds in good shape. Glastonbury to Marlboro. Quiet Middletown. Waterbury's okay. 84 and 8. 84 eastbound. Danbury slowing 3 to 5. 84 eastbound. A little tight again. 10 to 11 in Newtown. 95 southbound in New Haven slowing from exit 48 down to 43 in West Haven. And some sluggish traffic southbound Parkway from 60 in Hamden into the West Rock Tunnel. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Just one spotty shower on the radar currently way down along the New York-Connecticut line, but it's moving off to the northeast. And as we head through tonight, especially this evening, a couple of showers and thunderstorms. Some of those could bring some localized damaging wind gusts and hail, so keep that watchful weather eye out this evening. Then some periods of rain late tonight. It'll be damp, raw, and chilly with the low down to 40. Sunny to partly cloudy, breezy as we head through Tuesday, the high 55. Wednesday, more clouds and sun. A little cooler still with the high 51. Little morning rain on Thursday, otherwise mainly cloudy, breezy, and warmer into the afternoon with the high at the 68. And Friday, mild, cloudy in the morning and some filtered sunshine for the afternoon, the high of 66 to round out the week. Not a bad day. Right now, 52 in New London, 61 in New Haven, 57 in Bridgeport. It's 63 in Bristol and 61 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
All the audio that matters to you is on Odyssey. Odyssey has news that hits home in your local area and around the country. Get local news, traffic, and weather from stations near you. Get national news from CNN, Fox News Radio, and more. And explore the biggest news podcasts like The Daily Punch, Pod Save America, and The Daily, AUDACY. Find all the news that matters to you in a universe of audio. Odyssey.
Hey, it's Eric Erickson. I hope you'll tune in to listen to my show every weeknight at 6 right here on WTIC News Talk 1080. I'll break down the news of the day, everything from national politics down to the battle at the local school board. I'm not going to give you the party line, no predictable red meat. I'll give you the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, and what's going on in this insane world. I hope you'll join me. The Eric Erickson Show, weeknights 6 till 9 right here on WTIC News Talk 1080 and on the free Odyssey app.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. Sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with a sun protection factor, or SPF, of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. UVA rays age the skin, UVB rays burn, and both cause cancer. But the perfect sunscreen doesn't count if you use it wrong. Don't need sunscreen on a cloudy day? Wrong. 80% of UV rays still get through the haze. Only use sunscreen at the beach? Nope. Anytime you're outside, UV rays attack the skin, so you need protection. And you have to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. Remember, SPF plus broad... Healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Reese on the Radio is getting ready to drop some knowledge on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Drop it. Yeah, man, let's do this.
Yes, you do. Stupid as can be.
This could very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
The stupidest thing I read today is mind-boggling. Headline from the Telegraph. Toddler kicked out of nursery for being transphobic. I say again. For those of you who are just going, what? Screaming at your screens, screaming at your radio, what? Yes. Again, toddler kicked out of nursery for being transphobic. A toddler was suspended from nursery after being accused of being transphobic or homophobic, the Telegraph can reveal. The Department for Education, which is different than ours in England, instead of Department of Education, the Department for Education data show that the child, aged either 3 or 4, was suspended from a state school in 22-23. That was that school year. For, quote, abuse against sexual orientation and gender identity. The school and further details of the case were not disclosed. But statistics show that 94 pupils at state primary schools were suspended or permanently excluded for transphobia or homophobia in 22 and 23 school seasons. These included 10 pupils from year 1 to 3 from year 2, where the minimum age is 7. Okay, we are talking about children as young as 7 who were, if not expelled, but suspended for transphobia or homophobia. It comes after the Telegraph revealed that children as young as 5 are being kicked out of schools for attacking their teachers or fellow pupils amid an alarming rise in ill discipline in Britain's school. Helen Joyce, director of advocacy at Sex Matters, said, every once in a while, the extremes of gender ideology throw up a story that seems crazy to believe. And a toddler being suspended from nursery for so-called transphobia or homophobia is such one example. Worse still, this is not an isolated case. Apparently, 13 4- and 5-year-olds were suspended or permanently excluded for the same reason. 4 and 5 years old. Yeah, messing with it. I wish I was. According to company policy, I'm not allowed to do April Fool's jokes. This is real. This is a real story. Richard A. says, I don't blame him. Some of those dames are pretty scary looking. Richard, you are now officially suspended. Well, apparently they'd kick you right out of the school there, Richard. I don't know. What does a 5-year-old say? You know, does he say, excuse me, mister? And it's like, I'm a ma'am. It's like, you look like a boy in a dress. And what do? Kick the kid out? I'm not kidding. They actually, yeah, that's insane. 4-year-olds. And they talk about it. Like, yeah, we're not going to have any transphobia here. That toddler's gone. For real. 860-522-WTIC. Craig's in the car. What's up, buddy?
Well, let's get this back to the topic of the day, which is music.
Yeah, okay, we're going back to music now.
Yeah, we
What do you got?
Because politics makes me sleep. So background. Back in the 80s, you and I are the exact same age. We're 55.
Yep.
We're there. Back in the 80s, I was a metalhead. Still am. Loved my Rush. Loved my Dream Theater. Loved all of that. Anthrax, all that. But I also loved The Cure. And I loved the Cars. And I loved The Call.
Okay.
And I loved all that. But I also loved Grandmaster Melly Mel.
Okay.
And Grandmaster Flash and all that stuff. And, you are the strangest black music lover I've ever heard in my life.
That is something people keep throwing at me all the time. But I'll tell you why it is. And I really do believe this. It was, and I've talked about this before, maybe even last week, I mentioned it a little bit. when I was homeless, I worked at a grocery store, and in that grocery store, they always played top 40 groups. And sometimes an obscure band that really didn't hit top 40 charts would have a top 40 song. So I was introduced to those groups. I would not know Van Halen, 1984, had Jump not become a top 40 record. So it introduces me to Van Halen, which then introduces me to classic rock. I mean, just rock in general. And I start listening to all those songs. So there are some songs within the Van Halen era that I start listening to. I know nothing about Anthrax without my introduction into rock. You know, I don't know Guns N' Roses, if not their, sort of foray into mainstream music. With some of their stuff that reached the top 40. So that's why, I guess, eclectic, for lack of a better word, I have such a, in my high school years, I'll never forget it, when I lived in the Bronx, I hung out with a bunch of guys who loved Depeche Mode. These guys dressed like, before the Matrix was popular and before goth really took a hold, they kind of had that pre-goth look. And the groups that they were listening to were OMD and Simple Minds and all of these, what was it? The European Invasion, where groups like not Simple Minds. What was the other one? Who was the guys who sing, English Beat. What the heck? I'll Stop the World. What was the name of that group?
I'll Stop the World.
I'm thinking it's English something. I can't remember their name off the hand. Somebody in what's it?
Modern English.
Modern English, yes. Modern English. I found out about them, which again, what did that introduce me to as I got older into the 90s? I found out about Fishbone, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and all of these people, all people were trying to do, and the crazy part was they told me, hey, if you like hip hop so much and you like bass and like bass lines and like hip hop songs, you'll really love Fishbone, or you'll really love the Red Hot Chili Peppers. You'll really love Flea. And they started introducing me, and I started listening to the grooves of all of these sounds, and I was just going, oh, hell, this is great stuff. And that was it. Forget about it. You couldn't keep me.
That's the difference, Reese. It's people that hear something and they get interested and they dig deeper versus most of the population that just listens to top 40 because that's what's popular. And most of that stuff is garbage.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It is.
From Van Halen, that is not their best work.
Yes,
but
no
what
kidding.
Most people know.
So true. So true. When I got into Van Halen, and I remember when all of my friends from the neighborhood was like, have you ever heard Van Halen before? I was just like, what's that? It was like, it's rock. I'm like, no, I'm not really into that. And then, when Jump comes out and I listen to it, of course, you hear it enough times and you go, you know what, let me check out this band. And then I start hearing other songs by them and I just go, who is this
Then you get
group?
into Diver Down.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, who are these people? And why have I not heard them before? Now I've got to. Another thing was a lot of my friends were into Justice for All, like Metallica and all that stuff. And I'm going, I don't know if I could get into that. And they were like, well, give it a shot. And you give it a shot and you just go, oh, it's actually really good. Like, why am I liking this? I thought that I was like sort of this pigeonholed hip hop guy. And I'm like, I'm liking this. And my mom explained it to me best. She goes, if you like music, if it's good, you'll like it. That's it.
That's exactly right. We tend to put music into a box, right? It's rock, it's country, it's hip hop, no, that doesn't work that way. Good music's good music.
Yeah, it is.
And I love what's happening right now at our age. These different boxes are coming together, and it's making like a universe of really good music that mixes all of it together. Look at Jelly Roll. Jelly Roll, he's doing country, he's doing hip hop, he's doing heavy metal, he's doing all this stuff. That guy's a savant.
I'm not gonna lie. You know who also surprised me when he said it, and people thought it as him marketing or sort of stealing from every genre. That Post Malone guy, I did not give him a fair shot in the beginning. I was like, nah, he's not my thing. And he was like, I'm going to do rap this next album. I'm going to do country the next album. And I went, what is this guy just dipping and dabbing and everything? And then he's actually good.
Reese, it comes back to, let's go back 40 years. I think it's 40 years. Michael Jackson had Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? How smart was that guy?
Exactly. Well, that was kind of a Quincy Jones thing, just calling him up. And did you hear the other story behind that Eddie Van Halen thing? Do you know that you weren't allowed as a member of Van Halen to work on anyone's project unless you had unanimous consent by the band?
Yeah, well, that was a dictatorship right there.
Is that crazy? Yeah, Eddie Van Halen tells the story about how everybody was taken off, and he got a call from Quincy Jones because he needed somebody to do a guitar riff. And he was like, okay, sure, I did it. Nobody else was around to do it, so he went down there, and he contributed to it, which also makes it crazy, is that he does that. That's, by the way, Eddie Van Halen is the guitar solo on Beat It. And
Right.
he tells the story about how he did it, and Michael Jackson was like, oh, man, I really, really like the way that you played the guitar. And Eddie Van Halen does it to one of the most popular Michael Jackson songs ever and doesn't take credit, even after the success of the song.
That is amazing. But that was the beginning of that merging of different influences in different categories of music. I love that. I like White Minds, and I don't care if it's, Grandmaster Melly Mel or Grandmaster Flash.
Mm-hmm.
I still like listening to that. And someday you promised me over a year ago, you were going to explain to me Roxanne, because I still don't get that.
Oh, all right. So, wait a minute. Are you talking about the song Roxanne, or the rivalry between Roxanne and the real Roxanne?
All the different versions. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I like most of them. Not all of them, but I like most of them. I don't get that whole thing. Was that like a street thing?
No, let me explain to you. I think I could do this in the Reader's Digest way. Okay?
All right.
So the Reader's Digest version of the Roxanne argument was this, right? There was a young lady that portrayed Roxanne in the music video by UTFO. There was an actual rapper, a young lady named Roxanne who lived in New York, right? So the whole bottom line was that this Roxanne person was the sort of the object of affection by UTFO, and they made a song about her, and this woman was on there. And again, she was supposed to be this Roxanne figure, as it were. The Juice Crew knew that it was popular to do what's called a diss track or a response track to a particular song that was very popular. It was the way that you got on the board, so to speak. So Marley Marl, who I worked with, former colleague, got this girl, Roxanne, who actually lives in Roxanne Shante, who lives in the neighborhood, and got her to do a response record to the UTFO song, putting her on the stage, and they had this rivalry, UTFO versus Roxanne Shante, and then that's how that folds. And next thing you know, they actually have to take the Roxanne who is in this song and actually give her a record career, and it was just a bunch of going back and forth and all this other stuff. So that's kind of what the whole thing was about. And it was nothing more than people utilizing a popular song and getting notoriety, because that's how Salt and Pepper came to be. Salt and Pepper's first record was called The Showstopper, which was a response to Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick's, or Ricky D at the time, Slick Rick's This Is Called The Show. So it was a response record by females so that they can get it. And The Showstopper was it was a popular song, but just as popular as The Show. So that was just what people did, was you take somebody's song and then you come with a response record to it. That's how you became popular. Roxanne was no different.
Oh, okay, so that's the musical version of breakdancing.
Yes, that's all it is. It's just battle rap. It's sort of battle rapping. But if you come up with a great song that's a response to a popular record, and that's all you're doing, is you're becoming popular based upon a popular record, a call and response, if you will, to a record. LL Cool J made a career out of it. Kool Moe Dee and LL Cool J versus Ice-T, LL Cool J versus Hammer. He did that in one song called To the Break of Dawn. If you listen to that song, To the Break of Dawn by LL Cool J, he attacks all three, Kool Moe Dee, Ice-T, and MC Hammer, all in one song.
All right. Well, you taught me something. But we're going to get into the Metallica thing, because
you're going to have to, you know what? Like I said, Metallica was a long way for me to go. And I have to admit, I wouldn't have known Justice for All or any album before it if not for the Black Album. I wouldn't have known.
Yeah.
I would have never known.
Yeah.
Which I still think to this day, listen, I'm going to say this about Metallica and a lot of people who love that album. I have to admit, I think the Black Album is a sellout album on their part.
Oh, I do too.
And again, it was most successful album.
The Black Album came out the same year that Skid Row, Slave to the Grind came out.
Yeah.
And if you listen to those two albums, Slave to the Grind is way heavier than Metallica. Way heavier.
They really that album, that Black Album was absolute corporate, which now I will put it to you this way. I think that Black Album explains why Lars Ulrich had such an animus towards the Napster guy. Because a lot of people said that Lars, if you think about Metallica, these guys were underground, nobody knew them. And then Napster comes out and Lars Ulrich goes complete corporate. And a lot of people hated Lars for that.
The rock world, you're either a Metallica guy or a Megadeth guy.
Yeah,
and I'm a Megadeth
that's
guy.
true. That much I know. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that, too. We'll talk. Let's get another. You got it. Let's get another check of the weather and traffic. Jason Catarinas has got your weather, and Mark Grismer's in the BPS Traffic Center. Now, I know, Mark, you got some Metallica in you. If you like Dave Matthews.
Enter Sandman?
Okay, so you're a Black Album guy, too.
Yeah, Enter Sandman.
Unforgiven? Same album.
Yeah. I'm not a huge headbanging
No?
music guy myself. No.
Yeah, well, if you're a Dave Matthews guy, that's probably going to be out of your purview. Hard rock stuff.
I mean, I love Enter Sandman. And even though I'm a Red Sox fan, that was Mariano Rivera's.
Yeah.
And I love Mariano Rivera even as a Red Sox fan. So I enjoyed every
I think
time
you can do that. You can do that. Jeter,
yeah,
too.
absolutely. Hey, if you're heading into Hartford, Reese, westbound side of 84, slowing Bulkley Bridge out to 47 Sigourney. 84 eastbound, you got slow traffic about a half mile before 46th Avenue into the tunnel. Both sides of 91 moving well, Cromwell up into Windsor Locks. 291, 384 doing okay east of the river. 2 eastbound, no issues, Glastonbury to Marlboro. Quiet Middletown. Waterbury's okay, 84 and 8. 84 eastbound, slowing in Danbury 3 to 5. Again, 84 eastbound tight from 8 to 11 in Newtown. The southbound side of the parkway slowing 60 in Hamden into the West Rock. 95 southbound slows 46 down to 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Cloudy, windy, and warmer this afternoon with a thunderstorm around. Some of those could produce localized damaging wind gusts and hail, the high of 64. Then tonight, mostly cloudy, breezy. Still a couple of showers and a thunderstorm this evening, capable of localized damaging wind gusts and hail again. Then periods of rain late, the low down to 40. On Tuesday, sunny to partly cloudy, breezy, a little cooler, the high of 55. Wednesday, more clouds and sun, the high 51. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
No? All right, looks like we got dead air.
Good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. On the heels of a Red Sox loss to the Orioles 8-5 in Baltimore, there could be some rough weather for the area later this evening and tonight. Heavy rain is forecast. Could get pretty hairy around here with some embedded thunderstorms as well. 4 people, including 3 juveniles, are under arrest after police in West Hartford.
All right, I'm switching over to the main line.
At West Farms Mall. This happened.
Give me a. Hopefully he don't.
One person involved.
Do a short one.
Stabbed in the legs, sustaining non-life.
All right, I got to turn my things back to Maine, though, right?
Charged with assault and breach of peace.
Correct, the Mundo.
Earthquake in Myanmar, now 2,000. More bodies have been pulled from the rubble. A government spokesman says they have 3,400 injured, and they're still looking for 300 others. Man's facing charges after state police say he set fire to a bench at the CT Fast Track station in Hartford, or one of them. Under arrest is 43-year-old Aaron Davis. The bench in a vestibule was burned on Saturday at the Sigourney Street station. Police used surveillance video and later spotted Davis at the Kane Street station early Sunday morning. President Trump says Liberation Day is coming Wednesday. He plans on rolling out another set of tariffs that he promises will free the U.S. from foreign goods. And it's UConn and USC for a spot in the Final Four tonight. Women's NCAA tournament. The Trojans will be without Juju Watkins. She sustained a serious knee injury earlier in the tournament. The final of the Spokane Regional tips off at 9. Wall Street, the Dow up 417 points today. NASDAQ dropped 23. S&P was up 30. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Mystic, Hamden, Putnam. When you want local news, turn to WTIC News Talk 1080, reporting on the local stories that affect you. From Manchester to Mystic, Hartford to Hamden, and Putnam to Plymouth, one radio station has your local news and breaking news as it happens. WTIC News Talk 1080. Listen on your radio, smart speaker, and on your phone with the free Odyssey app.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Hey, it's Tom Shattuck. As you know, my friend
1 minute.
doing Awaken 180 weight loss, and he's just finished up week 7. Phil, how'd it go?
It's funny, Tom. I had a feeling like, I don't know about this week. I kind of cheated, but just so little. I thought, you know what? If that's enough to screw things up, I'm really going to have to get back on the wagon. But I ended up losing 2.6, and total to date, I'm down 41.2 pounds, 7 weeks to date. I'm light on my feet. It's just so much easier to walk. I think, wow, I lost 40 plus pounds. That has to just be so much better for my body, for my skeletal system, you know, my breathing, everything. It's just, it's phenomenal. I'm still really pumped and looking forward to, you know, continuing the progress.
You know why my friend Phil can have an imperfect week?
And 10, you ready to rock?
He's got a coach at Awaken 180 Weight Loss who knows him.
Yo.
Yeah,
we're here.
Call
Sorry.
44346-1800. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Stay locked in. Reese on the Radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
I know we're about to end the show, and very soon. Look at that. That's so weird. We go back to the live thing, and all of a sudden I get the echo. I didn't hit the echo the whole time. Anyway, now that we're back, tomorrow's show, because I really did want to play this. You guys might remember a young lady by the name of Batya Unger Sargon. She's been running, getting the rounds in all over the place. She was on Bill Maher a couple of weeks ago. She's on Fox News a little bit now. She is a liberal journalist. She's on the left, but she is so insightful. I love listening to her. And part of the reason why is because of things like this that she says. And I'll put it to you this way. If you are ever asking yourself, what can a Democrat sound like in order to moderate? Unfortunately, the only thing that they can do is to sound more like people who are on the right today. And what I failed to say the last time I mentioned that is that the right is not what it used to be. I often scream and holler when people say, it's like, Reagan could never be a part of this Republican Party. Yeah, probably not, because the Republican Party was different then. Today, there are some permitted behaviors. It's loosened up. It's reins a little bit. It's compromised in a lot of ways. It's found a core in what it's always been, and that is the average American. Many people used to say that the Republican Party was only for the rich. And to be quite, disgusting, rich whites. That was their big deal. That was the big comparison when liberals or Democrats would talk about them. It's not the case anymore. And what Batya says here is the new Republican Party. Now, whether or not Ronald Reagan be a part of it, I don't know. But again, if the Democrats want to sound like Democrats, they're going to have to consider what Batya is talking about. Again, she is a liberal, a true liberal in the sense of the word.
A lot of people on the right struggle to understand why the Democrats keep picking on 80-20 issues, the 20, right? And the reason is because the divide in this country is not political. It is a class divide that separates out the 20% of the over-credentialed college elites from the 70-80% of Americans who are middle and working class. Trump has unified those people around a common sense, middle-of-the-road agenda. People who don't feel that things are going in the right direction, this is the Democrats' base, the elites. The elites are very polarized. And of course, Wall Street, for 3 election cycles in a row, picked the Democrats over Donald Trump because they don't like the fact that his entire economic agenda is designed to put money in the pockets of working class Americans, middle class Americans, bring the American dream back for the average person who has been forgotten.
Now, the reason why that's so brilliant when she says that, I'm going to take you back to 2008 when we returned to explain to you exactly my point. And it has everything to do with Sarah Palin. So stick around for that. And I'm going to probably discuss it. I should save it for tomorrow, but I want to talk about it a little bit when we get back. So stick around. Let's get another check of our weather with Jason Catarinas. But first, Mark Christopher. He's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
All right, Reese, thank you very much. Well, if you're 84 eastbound, you got delays 46th and Avenue down to the Bulkley. Westbound 84 looks good. Vernon out into Farmington. Both sides of 91 moving well. Cromwell up into Winter Locks. 291 through 84, that looks good east of the river. 2 eastbound's okay. Glastonbury to Marlboro. Quiet Middletown, quiet Waterbury. 84 eastbound in Danbury, slowing New York, Connecticut line out to exit 5. Again, 84 eastbound is tight from 8 in Danbury out to 9 in Newtown. A little slow again as you move 84 eastbound by exit 11 in Newtown. Southbound on the Parkway, delays 60 into the West Rock. 95 South New Haven, slowing 46 down to exit 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
For tonight, mostly cloudy, breezy, couple of showers and a thunderstorm this evening, then some periods of rain late. The evening storms could bring localized damaging wind gusts and hail. Then as we head into tomorrow, sunny to partly cloudy, breezy, the high 55. Wednesday, more clouds and sun, the high down to 51. Warmer on Thursday after a little morning rain, mainly cloudy, breezy, the high moving up to 68. Friday, mild day, cloudy start to the day with filtered sunshine in the afternoon, the high of 66. Right now, Meriden 64, Bristol 65, Hartford 64. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Hard work and dreams lead to success, but easily filing your taxes with TurboTax and Credit Karma doesn't hurt either. Make filing taxes a walk in the park, because we'll pre-fill your info for you so you can file quickly and confidently. Winner! Get the peace of mind that comes with expert help. Let's go! Being powered by TurboTax means you're backed by the leading tax preparer, and we'll show you all your filing options up front so there are no surprises. File your taxes on Intuit Credit Karma today. Expert help not available with all products. Guarantee details available at turbotax.com/guarantees.
This year, celebrate Easter at either Evergreens at the Simsbury Inn or Seasons in the Avon Old Farms Hotel. You'll enjoy a gourmet buffet featuring traditional Easter dishes, live music, and there will be appearances from the Easter Bunny. For just $79.95 per adult, you can get out of the kitchen, relax, and enjoy Easter. There are seatings at each location between 10:30 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. For a reservation at Evergreens, call 860-392-0309. For a reservation at Seasons, call 860-269-0240. Reservations will go fast, so call and make your reservation today. Celebrate Easter Sunday this year with us at either Evergreens or Seasons.
Hi, I'm Joe with SimpleSaleUSA.com, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 203-896-4000. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition, any price range, and more importantly, anywhere in Connecticut. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that is trash and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, because I love buying junk houses. I buy vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and even foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 203-896-4000. 203-896-4000. That's 203-896-4000. 203-896-4000.
This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health.
Oh, man.
Successfully treated thousands of men for low testosterone and help them feel like their old selves again.
Yes,
Please
sir.
take a moment and listen to how we help Marty.
I was a really grumpy guy, sleeping like garbage, and getting older, the energy level was just in the toilet. And that was what led to me going in. I've been treated at Northeast Men's Health for low testosterone, coming on about 2 years now. Within a few weeks, I started noticing I was sleeping a little bit better. I definitely noticed a higher energy level, but the old man crankiness just went away. I'm able to stay really well organized. Nothing slips through the cracks. Having the T treatment is leading me to keep on top of my game. What I would say to any other guy that is in the same situation where they feel like they're dragging, just call Northeast Men's Health. You won't regret it.
Thanks, Marty. It's true. Low T therapy can dramatically change your life. Your initial $99 with the results in minutes. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call today, 800-930-5956, or go to northeastmenshealth.com.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is.
You know who it is. It's Reese on the Radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
We'll get to the phones real quick in a second. I just want to play this back for those of you who may be joining us right now. So again, this was Batya, and I always forget her name, Batya Unger Sargon. And she's got to change her name like David Bowie had to change it from Davy Jones. She just has to. It's too much. It's too many consonants and you have to do weird things. Anyway, this is what she said.
A lot of people on the right struggle to understand why the Democrats keep picking on 80-20 issues, the 20, right?
Yeah.
And the reason is because the divide in this country is not political. It is a class divide that separates out the 20% of the over-credentialed college elites from the 70-80% of Americans who are middle and working class. Trump has unified those people around a common sense, middle-of-the-road agenda. People who don't feel that things are going in the right direction, this is the Democrats' base, the elites. The elites are very polarized. And of course, Wall Street, for 3 election cycles in a row, picked the Democrats over Donald Trump.
Now, remember when John McCain picked Sarah Palin as his vice presidential candidate? And Sarah Palin talked a lot about soccer moms. She talked about very middle-class moms. She was a hunter, Second Amendment absolutist. She was, pretty, but people mocked her and called her dumb and a hillbilly and lived in flyover country. That stuff was happening. That was the emergence of that sort of movement where the left was mocking average Americans, slope-headed rednecks. That was coming from a college-educated. Remember, if there's anybody who is ever a candidate who is saturated in degrees, it was Barack Hussein Obama, Columbia, Harvard. The lines in his pants, remember? Remember that? What was his name? Isikoff from the New York Times, who said that the crease in Obama's pants were just sharp as a knife. Just so smart and eloquent and educated. That's when that started to emerge. Same thing they said about W. He was the guy that you'd want to have a beer with. There was nothing about him that was super elite, smart, genius. He was a C student, they said. Then they found out that John Kerry was a C student. They stopped that. But he was a C student. He's average. And so all of these people, I remember laughing about it, but I was getting in conversations with African-American people talking about how rednecky Sarah Palin was. I said, I'm almost certain I heard you say, is you going to the store twice today? What are you mocking her for? You have no grasp on the English language, Negro. Knock it off. But there was this elite behavior. It's the same thing they say about MAGA Republicans today. With their overwhelming concern about Donald Trump, the billionaire. He doesn't care about you. He's a billionaire. He's rich. He doesn't know what the price of eggs or milk are. That's the whole thing. College elite, brilliant, smart people And everybody wants to associate themselves with the smart and brilliant. They call anyone who supports Donald Trump or even is conservative is stupid. They're always rubes and dummies that have to be brainwashed out of the cult. They're never calling us smart. They're never calling us brilliant because they're the smart ones. They can't be told anything. They're brilliant. I know better. It's laughable, but that's where we are. That's where we are. And she's so right on that, Bot is. Back to the phones. Our good friend, White Mike. He's calling from Florida. Hey, buddy. No? Mike? Oh, you know what?
You ain't switch it yet.
I did. I promise you I switched it.
No.
So am I supposed to be on sub or master? Master, right?
Master, main.
Yeah, that's okay. Now I think I got it right now. At least I should be right now. Let's see if I got it right. Let's see. Of course I did that right.
There you go.
All right, White Mike, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, here I am.
What's going on, sir?
So, this past Saturday was Tesla Takedown Day.
Yes.
And I got to watch a YouTube reporter who happened to be in Tampa and St. Petersburg. So he went to St. Pete first, then he went to Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
And, buddy, let me tell you, the people who turned out to protest Elon Musk were exactly what you think they are.
Okay.
They were mostly old white women,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean like in their 70s, old ladies who clearly smelled like cat pee. There were a few old guys who
Yes.
were basically there because they were with their women.
Yeah.
And then there were some younger women in pink pussy hats.
Yeah.
There was not one affable person in the entire crowd, which is why they're so unhappy. Just a bunch of fat shagas with bad teeth, low brain cells.
Wait. Hold on. Now, from what I was seeing, and I watched a lot of them, White Mike, help me out here. Did you get the impression that these were no different from the Women's March from 2017 on Inauguration Day? Did it give that sort of vibe?
I didn't see as many lesbians, but yeah, for sure. But dude, the thing is, they're all stupid. Like, these people on the left think they're smart.
Mm-hmm.
And every single one of them was not only uninformed, but stupid. I watched a right-wing counter-protester counter this fat old lady and asked her, what's your beef is with Elon? And she said, well, he's cutting all this stuff. And the woman said, you know what he's cutting? And laid out example after example of the waste that's being done. And this fat old broad looked at her and was like, I had no idea. So you're motivated enough to go stand your old fat butt in front of a Tesla dealership in St. Petersburg on a beautiful Saturday, but you don't know anything about why you're upset.
No.
These people are exactly the morons who allow communism to take over a country. They're basically idiots.
Well, yeah, you know what? And that's what
Mm-hmm.
you need. Remember, for every one of these groups, you need useful idiots. That's exactly who they are.
And this is the problem, the basic flaw with representative democracy. Representative democracy is great unless the voters are retarded.
Wait. Hold. But you know what? As Richard rightly brings up, can we consider, or shouldn't we consider, a lot of these people are paid to be there?
Yeah, but I don't think these old people were. I think they're just dumb, and they've been dumb for a long time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'll admit that there are some hangers-on that are not politically, haven't been financially or fiscally motivated to be there. I mean, I would say a large swath of the people there who can get sort of hangers-on who don't know that there's a function in all of this where people are being paid, so they almost feel like it's sort of like the George Floyd activist or the Michael Brown activist. They feel like they're a part of something big, so they don't have to be financially incentivized to be there. They kind of feel like they're a part of something, so it's like this fear of missing out. So they join in so they can feel important.
Oh, of course. And the problem with our society being so safe and productive and prosperous is you can be a functional idiot and make it to old age without anything killing you because of your own stupidity. These people can be nursed along in sub 100 IQ forever. And because they're old and they're women, they suddenly think that their opinions matter. And they don't. These people are stupid. And this, my friend, is why I long for a benevolent strong man to lead the country. We can take power away from the idiots and let one smart guy who knows what he's doing lead things in a direction. Democracy is a failed experiment. We need a good, strong man.
This is when it goes off the rails. God bless you, Mike. I always appreciate you, my friend. Thank you. It's just then when he starts, because he really does believe in we should have, well, I don't want to say an oligarchy. Maybe he just believes in one fascist ruler. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to stand for that. Not if I can stomach it. I don't think that's a good idea. Because who gets to be that guy? Like, I don't think we're going to find that guy at all. Hey, the aforementioned birthday girl, Lori in Glastonbury, is on the line. Hello, Lori, and happy birthday again.
Hello, sir. Hello. I wanted to. So I just got out of work and I've been listening for the last half hour, and I wanted to ask you, because you always have your finger on the pulse of things.
Okay.
When do we start to panic because of all of these special elections going the way of the Democrats? When should we actually start to panic?
Okay. What I would suggest is if we start to see an anomaly that is absolutely indefensible. What do I mean? If we start seeing a pattern that goes against, like we just had an election in November. There's an election that just happened in Pennsylvania, if you remember, where they said that a Democrat won in a plus 15, where Donald Trump won at a plus 15. Now that...
Right, and then a Democrat won in Florida, too.
Right. Okay. So, that's exactly right. So what we need to do is be able to openly, even if we are criticized, openly investigate what those exit polls say. Because if it is a district that Donald Trump won at a plus 15, that means that somebody changed their mind in 2 months, right? It's clearly they've changed their mind in 2 months, or something else is happening. We're talking about an electorate that maybe didn't show up the first time in November to vote and is now all of a sudden come out in droves. I am not of the ilk that says we can't talk about voter fraud, because, as I said in 2020, you can't tell me that this is the most important election of our lifetime. You can't tell me that democracy is on the line. You can't tell me that if, the heart and soul of America is at risk of being taken over and destroyed, and tell me that not one person tried to move the dial. You can't. You can't tell me both. You can't tell me that it's so dire, because I think Greg Gutfeld said on Friday and said that if you truly believe that Elon Musk is a Nazi, you don't need to be paid to show up at a protest. It would be your civic duty to do it for free. Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you truly believe that he was a threat to everything you believe in, nobody should have to be motivated by money. You shouldn't. You would be out there. You remember what Antifa did? Antifa ran out there and said, I have to punch you because you're a Nazi, right? They didn't have to be politically motivated. Financially motivated to do that. They went out there in droves and they attacked people because that's truly what they believed.
Right, but are we sure that they weren't funded?
Well, I'm sure they were funded by outside groups. Yeah, I'm sure that there was fundraising that was going on. But again, I think the bottom line, well, I would put it this way. They were probably flown to a lot of places, but I know that ideologically those people believe what they believe. What I'm saying is that what do we know about conservatives? Conservatives motivate when it is important to them. They don't have to be incentivized financially to do that. If anything, they give their money to what they believe in as opposed to being paid for it. So what we need to do is, one, we have to be unabashed. We have to be unashamed of questioning those elections when they don't seem like they're on the up and up, and we must ask for a full investigation if we join. And we don't have to words like, oh, you guys are just sore losers. You know what? Call us whatever you want. Just show us the books. Because we want to make sure that you guys are doing it on the up and up, because we can't trust them.
Well, and here's just kind of a follow-up question, so to speak. So if with these losses, is this the wake-up call that we all needed to be like, oh, wait, the job isn't done?
That's right. And you mentioned that last week. You mentioned that last week, and I stand, listen, you and I we're side by side on this. We are parallel. That has always been, I saw these people who, after the election of Donald Trump, were just like kind of like sighing, giving a sigh of relief. And my response to them was, what are you sitting down for? Get up. The fight starts today, because trust me, when I said, the election, people thought I was kidding when I said this. November 5th was the election. November 6th was the 2028 race. It began on the next day. As soon as Kamala Harris came out there and gave her speech, the next election was on. So that's where we are. So you're absolutely right. We need to fight back, and we need to ask questions, and we have to not be afraid or ashamed to push back on these elections to make sure that they're on the up and up.
Right, absolutely. Okay.
All right.
And hopefully it'll be the wake-up call we needed.
Exactly. Thank you, Lori, and happy birthday again. All right, time for me to get up out of here. We'll be back on the regular airwaves tomorrow, so make sure you're here. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your minds. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. He is Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center with Jason Catarinas with weather. Good night, sir.
Good night, Reese. Hey, if you're heading into Hartford right now, 84 eastbound, just a little slow, approaching 48.
All right, dog.
All right, man.
All right. Both sides of 91 moving well. Cromwell up into Windsor Locks.
I don't even know what I'm going to do for the rest of the day.
Eastbound,
Enjoy yourself. How about that?
Yeah, probably. My wife is going to make me go shopping.
There you go.
That's all I need. All right, man. See you mañana.
All right, see you mañana.
Connecticut line out to exit 5 again, sluggish.
Holla, holla, pop your collar. Make benign dictatorship great again. That's a good point. All right, folks, I appreciate it. I don't like when we're online. I almost feel like there's something missing, but I appreciate you guys joining me anyway. So we will see you mañana. I love you guys. Be good to each other.